this place!
Hey, man, is that
Double D?
Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
Let's just go in and, like, kill all the orcs, right? They're the bad guys, who gives a shit? We just hack and slash and we loot their dead bodies, right? Hack and slash, kill them all, you know, conquer the infidels.
Boy, that campaign sounds like a barrel of fun, doesn't it?
Somebody who's opening a refrigerator and leaning in, right, is the language of a woman. Somebody who's opening the refrigerator and being cut off halfway through that lean is the voice of like a mermaid or a siren, right?
This is not the face of the hobby anymore. And I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assumed that D&D players were all, you know, white dudes in a basement, which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. And so it's, in my viewpoint, honestly, guys like me can't leave soon enough.
I just had to be born with empathy and a weakness for socialism and femboys. For socialism and femboys.
For socialism and femboys.
You gotta put a little hot sauce on the taco, you know what I mean?
We want this dwarf to be the dwarfiest dwarf.
Right.
We want the elf to be the elfiest elf.
And just the dashiest dash of Tabasco.
Their voices need to carry across water.
I'm a creative. It's a huge drain, right? Because fans can be awful.
When we got the descriptions, they were very adamant. They were like, try not to make it like a white blonde guy. Like, please, like, we love him, but there's like 500 million of them.
The diversity that the characters need to have needs to reflect the gaming world now. The mix of people that are playing these games, you know, it's not, you know, 13-year-old white boys held up in their basements. It's a very diverse crowd, you know.
You say white lives matter, they don't. White lives don't matter because white lives aren't a thing.
What's this? What's this? It's the jacket.
The jacket.
The jacket.
Lutherville, Marina Del X, Otisburg. Otisburg? Who's this monster? She's got her own place. Otisburg? It's a little bitty place. Otisburg? Okay, I just wiped it off. That's all. It's a little town.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. No. We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live! Fucking thing sucks!
5, 4, 3. Great sandwich!
Thank you. I enjoyed having you here. You're a very good co-host.
Man, your sinewy muscles are just ripped. And look how your gleaming sweat just comes off your golden body, and the women are just looking the same, and all of them want
Double D. Hello. How's everybody doing? Hope I'm coming through loud and clear. It says that I am. On Saturday, I did a little impromptu stream, and I screwed up the microphones as usual.
We need Navy Club.
We're going to have to hire those kids from high school.
Yeah, the AV Club.
Get that geek squad down here. You know, today when I was working, I thought when we play Otto and Roland the other, like, couple weeks ago, we were like, oh, it's like a young Tom Cruise and a young Jax Teller, Charlie Hunnam. When in reality, we're probably like Lenny and Squiggy.
Yeah.
When we walk in the room.
Hello, Shoyle.
Everything in life can go back to like those 60s sitcoms. You know, Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
Pinky Tuscadero and Leather and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Bang, bang.
Yeah.
Speaking of Otto and Roland, I listened. One of the NPCs, they said Double D.
Yes.
Make him Gary Busey. So I got the real Gary. I got the real character, and then
I thought you were going to say you got the real.
I got the real Gary Busey.
He's going to be on later tonight.
He's driving here right now.
I did a picture of who the character that looks, you know, kind of cool, and then I did one that doesn't look kind of cool but is hilarious. So stick around for that. If you so desire. We always do that at the end. Otto and Roland, our quick little kind of Prince Valiant style live play. So as you see, Crazy Mouse is here.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Rogan is here.
Hello.
We're here.
We have a special guest tonight. Tonight. Let's go right to her. There she be.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hello.
See, now it's going to stick in my mind
Yeah,
all night
yeah,
long.
I'm thinking about it now too.
Hi, Harmony. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. This
Have you
is
ever
probably-
seen Laverne and Shirley? Do you even know what we're talking about?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I believe I saw it at my grandma's house when I was a kid.
That sounds
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Ouch.
We are your grandparent. We are your, well, maybe not your grandpa, your father and mother.
I'm 25 all day long until I look in the mirror.
Yeah. Aren't we all?
I am guessing I'm older than you think I am, so maybe not.
Well, you carry it well.
Yeah. How are you? How you doing, Harmony?
I'm doing great. I was excited about this one. I go on shows a lot. I'm really excited about this show.
Yeah, we kind of first got connected on kind of our mutual buddy, T-shirted historian. I love his show. He's a good dude. I know you're a more frequent guest on there, and you also have your own channel.
Yeah, I do. I'm kind of new at it, but it's been fun so far.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. Couple of interesting interviews.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think you do a pretty good job just kind of letting your host talk or your
that's
guest
the easy part.
Yeah, Penny Marshall.
Or it could be like one night at the Apollo, and if nothing's happening, that guy could come out with a broom and hit him with the sweeper.
Yeah. So you kind of, I don't want to say like, oh, you burst onto the scene like, a couple months ago. How long have you kind of been active in this sphere?
It depends on what you mean by active, because I was on Twitter for a while. My Twitter account's a few years old. It's not my first Twitter account, but it's my first Twitter account in the RPG sphere. Well, I was a lurker before that, but I've been posting on there for maybe about 2 years with a long hiatus in the middle. I really just started getting some traction about this year, though, real early this year.
When did you first kind of start getting into RPGs? I would imagine maybe you probably started with D&D, but correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, I did. As soon as I was allowed to, because I was not allowed to play Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, and I didn't know that there were any more other than that when I was younger. So I was a board game nerd when I was a kid. But when I was old enough to move out of the house and actually play Dungeons and Dragons without my mom knowing, I was 18, and I started with 3.5. I played that for quite a while. I played a lot of 3.5 campaigns. Then I moved to 4th edition. I didn't really like it, but I've never really figured out if it was the game or a DM issue. And I decided that, it wasn't for me after that. So I got out of RPGs at that point and spent a couple years just playing board games. I got very into games like Twilight Imperium, which I have learned that we have in common.
Oh, yes.
So I played a lot of big, I can't call them war games. I've been informed they are not war games. Somebody told me they were war games. I was like, oh, I guess I'm a war gamer, but I'm not, apparently. So I learned they are not war games, but big 6-player diplomacy style games for a while, like that, Cosmic Encounter Diplomacy, things in that vein, Civilization style games. I got real into those for a long time. And then I got back into D&D when a friend of mine started running a D&D campaign. I decided to be in that. And then I started DMing myself a lot, actually. I run a lot of games. I weirdly don't think I get burned out on it. More recently, I've gone back to learning how to play AD&D. That was the more recent thing, though. I've also played along the way several other RPGs. I played Call of Cthulhu, Numenera, Shadowrun, and a handful of others, Pathfinder, and some that I can't think of offhand. They're escaping me, but yeah, I've been a gamer pretty much my whole life, but RPGs
Were you
has
just
been an adult
were you
thing.
just raised religious? Is that why your mom didn't?
Yes, Southern Baptist.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
we didn't do RPGs. It was a big no.
Yeah, it's like, and I know there's the YouTube channel RPG Elite. He's a brother, and he had his best video, his most popular video is why aren't more black people involved in the RPG world? And he said that's a huge factor. It's like you're dealing with a lot of Southern Baptists, and it's just not. they don't like cotton to that. It's like not a thing. They don't want you doing it.
It's possible, which it's interesting though, because you see some religious communities that love RPGs because it is a good way to get people together that doesn't involve drinking or drugs or anything of that nature. But it's just a good way to get people together and really talking and just existing together at a table, right? But Baptists, at least, I don't know about any other sects, but Baptists, at least the church I grew up in, was absolutely not. My mom thought it was about the same as a Ouija board, was what she used to say.
I had a sister who was kind of like that. My mom didn't really care. She was just like, is this okay? And I was like, yeah, Mom, it's fine. So she's like, okay. That's crazy.
The cult I was in, we were not allowed to play. We had to sneak it as well. So
that's right. Yeah.
My dad's twin brother was a Baptist minister.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Good dude.
I mean, I know their hearts are probably in the right place. You know, they want your soul to be on the right side of God. But I don't know.
Yeah,
it just seems like taking a step back. You know, like we were talking with Rob Kuntz last week, and he was talking about an interview that somebody had with Gary Gygax, and this idiot news person was like, "Do you really think that you're casting spells when you play?" And it's like, I wish people back then could have just understood, like, no, it's just an excuse to get together and hang out.
Yeah, I don't actually know what was going on much back then. I was much younger, so I'm not really sure of the reasons why. My mom said it had something to do with people trying to summon devils. When I say it out loud, it sounds silly, but I don't know.
I mean, you're sort of dealing with a different generation there. Probably one that was more apt to just kind of maybe, I would just say, kind of believe some of the bullshit, maybe without questioning it, especially when it came to religious stuff. So that's why I don't take it personally. It's just, it was a shame it happened, and I'm glad we don't have to deal with it now. See a couple of people like Snake Ocean grew up in the 80s, but RPGs were pretty much ignored. I know Hungar said that he came from a religious family, him and DM James, but their mom was fine with it. So
for the record, I had a wonderful mother. This was like the one black mark on her record. So
yeah,
I don't want to like go on channels.
Oh yeah. That's why I say,
but
yeah, it's nothing personal. They didn't do it because they hated you. It's they did it because they loved you and thought they were doing right.
Exactly.
So I guess, you said you went to AD&D, but I guess that would have been kind of essentially like a new game for you, right? Because you started with 3.5.
I'm not running AD&D, to be perfectly clear. That's a hurdle I have not yet. I have not yet cleared. I have played some AD&D, and I've read I've read the Dungeon Master's Guide, but I haven't yet run it. I'm actually scared to. I'd love to play it more first, but we'll
Harmony,
see.
When you run a game, how many people is your like sweet spot are in your campaign at a time?
Usually, like, it depends on the group. 4 to 6 is usually what I have per group. A campaign is a weird way to say it, though, because I have a couple different tables in the same campaign. So I have one campaign that has like 15 people and one that has like 8 or 9, I think. So, but that's not, but there are 2 different meets. They just happen in the same world and they can affect each other. So I think that's considered the same campaign. Just
are they in
players.
Is there ever a chance that those 2 parties could collide?
Of course.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Rent out a gymnasium when you have all 20 at the same time.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That kind of dovetails into the one-to-one time, which dovetails kind of into the Bro SR. We'll get into that in just a little bit here. So 4 to 6, I think that's kind of standard.
4 to 6 at a time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything more, I don't know. People start to feel a little shortchanged, rightly so. I mean, you only have a certain amount of time, but I don't know. If you have a patient veteran group, you can do it with more. I think I've had what's the most at our table at a time? I mean, it's been like
8.
8.
8, yeah.
That's a little rough.
8 is rough, yeah. And that's like family too, with family there. But I still felt it like, holy shit, I'm not spending any time, in this area or with these people.
I think not just did you feel it, Double D, I think the players felt it too. Like, that might have pushed one of our players away.
Yeah, possibly.
It does.
Well, not possibly. I'm telling you that I think that was probably one of the main reasons. It's just our table got too big. So
yeah.
And I also have fun playing with like really small groups too. I don't normally run games for small groups, but some of the most fun I've had have been like with 2 to 3 player games. It's a little bit weird for some people. Some people find it awkward in smaller group situations, but my most fun
I never
games
do.
Have been.
Yeah, I mean we do, like I said, we do a live play at the end of each.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've seen that.
T-shirted.
Hi, T-shirt.
It's just these two, and it's just kind of fun. I mean, it's kind of like like a Fofford and Gray Mouser sort of a thing.
Yeah, I watched
obviously
the last
easier to
one.
wrangle.
Yeah, that was fun.
Hungar's saying that he likes running 5 is his sweet spot.
Yeah. Slap in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah, T-shirted's here. Good to see you, buddy. What is, I guess, how do you handle your table? What is your philosophy? Like, are you a strict rules as written?
Yes.
Do you?
I'm pretty strict. I enforce the rules incredibly strictly upon my players. I do not let them break rules. But by the same token, I do not break rules. And if I mess up, I actually have rules lawyer players at my table, which I like rules lawyers, and I will die on that hill. Rules lawyers help me become a better DM. But if I break the rules, they call me out on it, and they get me sometimes. They get me not remembering certain rules or how things function. And I enforce it very equally. I don't fudge. I roll face up for everyone to see. And I roll encounters on the spot a lot of times. And we play by the rules. And you kind of have to when you have more than one group in the same world. If you let one group break the rules, then the other group, then that's not fair. I'm sorry, there are sirens. You can hear
That's
that.
okay.
That's big city living.
No.
Not at all.
No. But yeah, I enforce rules very, very fairly, or I try to.
Nothing wrong with that. I think you've said before on Twitter that actually helps the players because they kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
I guess I'm sort of in a low key way. I guess that's sort of the way I am too. We got a super chat here from our friend Snake Oil Sean for $5. Hi, Harmony. Do your competing groups have vastly different alignments on average, or are they more just vying for treasure and glory?
No, the alignments are different. Yeah, so right now, one of my campaigns is fairly new. Actually, they're both fairly new. I did sort of a hard reset on all my stuff that had been going for multiple years recently. But no, I have a very nice, that's neutral good aligned group for the most part, that they're just after treasure and having a good time. Whereas I also in the same world have a group that is, well, they joined a cult, and they're probably going to be very evil and make problems for the first group, which is how it always is in the other game where we have 2 groups. I'm the DM of one of them and the player in another group, and yeah, one group exists solely to make problems for the other. It's great.
Do you have any secret roles that people are playing that you have to wrangle?
I don't know what you mean by secret roles. Like secrets that people have, certainly.
Yeah, maybe like secret trader. You
Yeah,
know, like,
so
I took that as she said that she makes all her rolls out in the open.
that's
how I'm understanding that question.
Not
no,
ROLES.
it's ROLES.
As in rolls.
I think
Okay.
it's maybe Thetan can. Dice rolls. Okay, yeah. Well, Crazy Mouse is always right. So
So I roll face up for the most part. If there are secret rolls that the players don't know, yeah, I'll roll those secretly. But normally, like with 95% plus, I'll roll face up, and we just abide by the results of the dice.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the record, Thetan, ROLLS is rules.
It was confusing. I was like, "Are we playing
read phonetically?"
yeah, crazy.
I didn't know
inside
if we were
joke there.
playing that secret Austrian painter game or anything. I don't know.
J-Mac,
fun
look
one,
at
though.
this. 20 members. Holy smokes.
Thank you so much.
J-Mac hit the lottery. He's spreading the wealth.
Oh, did I
You
get
won a
one? I have to
scratcher
comment to
earlier
see if I
today,
did.
maybe.
Thank you very much, J-Mac.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is much appreciated.
Oh, I'm a member now.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Well, it's about time.
We have Sean occasionally will or pretty regularly actually is kind enough to send out some memberships, and JMac now too. So yeah,
That was awesome.
much
love
appreciated.
is spread. See Patty's here. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, so I'm a huge believer in rolling out in the open as well. I mean, I think you owe it to your players. I mean, I probably wouldn't screw them anyway, but there's something about like, hey, he's just hot tonight. You know, if I'm whooping their butt, you know, there's what can you do? That's the way the dice are, you know. And I've had other nights where it's like I can't roll above a 10. So
It removes all doubt. And lots of people are okay fudging to save a PC. But I mean, once you fudge to save someone, if you don't fudge to save everyone, then you're just playing favorites. And it's the only fair way to do it is just see the dice.
I don't think at our table there's ever been, if someone ever thinks that Double D does play favorites, if they sat in on a session, I would have to say that I couldn't honestly say that he does.
No.
Every player has had a character that's died.
A lot of it too comes down to roles. Like Rogan loves being he's like kind of your prototypical like butt kicker. You like swinging a big sword, right? Big weapon.
I end up being that way because no one else wants to be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. But so he's always in the front lines. So I mean, there was a period where Rogan was just going through characters, and I felt like shit. But it's like
that's how it rolled. That's how it rolled.
It's like, you know, when I got 3 enemies and there's one guy there, guess who they're all attacking? You know, I mean, I can't just say, oh, the other one just kind of wanders off and, you know, says, you guys got this. You know,
I get what you mean. I have a player body count of all time. I think I've broken 40, but like half or more were like the same 3 players.
Oh yeah, just unlucky. Yeah.
No.
Hot rolls or dumb decisions.
They're not unlucky. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Bad decisions, as Crazy Mouse said. Did they make some
decisions.
of those?
Yeah, they make some decisions.
I've never had a character make a bad decision. That's a lie.
That's
a lie. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, that's why I think it's so important to kind of, you know, we've had the luxury of just playing together for so long. We have this world. So even if, all right, you get a little unlucky, your character dies, or you make a bad decision, your character dies, but you're still part of the world. One of Rogan's characters died, but it did have it is having an influence in our world, you know, based on who he knew and who his family was right now. So it's like you kind of want the players to be like, okay, yes, invest in your character, of course, but also kind of like look at the bigger world and the impact you're having on it as you're playing.
Yeah.
Don't poke the owlbear.
Don't poke the owlbear.
Tim Imholt.
Yeah, the owlbear. Who took the credit on that one?
You also tweeted out that it's good to allow your players to fail.
Yes.
Go ahead and can you expand on that?
Yeah. I mean, players have to be able to fail. If they can't fail, then there's then there's nothing worth celebrating when they succeed.
Sound like you're
And
raising kids.
I mean, well, it's true though. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're right.
I don't want.
Yeah.
I'm not a child. I don't want my DM to hand me a win. If I don't get to the win, then give me the consequences of my actions. That's fine. I don't mind dying in an RPG. It's a game, and failure doesn't always have to mean death. It can mean it can mean imprisonment. It can mean retreating and coming back later. But RPGs are adaptable to the point where they can adapt to a player failure. Like I was talking with someone recently about investigatory situations and what happens if the players fail an investigation. What happens if they can't reach the end of it? Well, the answer is there is a big world out there, and they have to be able to put it down and go somewhere else. And maybe it's a serial killer who strikes again the next night, and they'll have more clues, right? You have to be able to adapt to player failures. Sometimes that means killing some of them. Sometimes that means killing all of them. Sometimes that means just letting them retreat from a situation and come back later. There should be more to do than a single plot line. They should have somewhere else to go. But yeah, players must be allowed to fail, because if they're not, then we're just playing story time.
Yeah, I think that's kind of lost in the 5e generation a little bit. Overkill Joe, since failure is the best teacher. I'm a professor. You ain't the only one, Joe.
Yeah.
As a DM, I've learned enough over the years. Like I started DMing regularly. I would say, it's quote unquote weekly, but you know how it is. There's breaks, there's, downtime and all that stuff. But like since 1991, so you do kind of learn over the years. Look, if you just do something for, what is that old saying? If you do something for 10,000 hours, you might be an expert in it. I don't know if that's 10,000 hours. And I wouldn't say I'm an expert DM, like I'm the best, but I have a lot of experience, and I've kind of pivoted over the years, to maybe relying on not single plot lines, but basic plot lines. Like, gee, I really hope these guys, take this path. To honestly just kind of, we have this lived-in world, and it's like, hey, this is going on. Oh, by the way, this person, this is going on over here too, and this is happening. And there's this great debate going on in our party. My wife's character is a cleric, and, there are some kind of bigger things happening in the world, and she wants to, maybe investigate those more. And, we got, our friend Zolt, who just wants money. And he's like, I just want money to, build the dojo and
money and glory.
Money and glory. And it's, I love hearing them debate that, should we do this? Shouldn't we? Who are we? What are we? If your group is having those kind of discussions, you're probably on the right track, I would say.
Do you let them fulfill their separate goals? Like, do you let him build the dojo? And because eventually he should be able to build up this dojo and then lead a what do you call like people that train at a dojo? Monks. That's the word.
Monastic.
That's the word. The monastery monks. Yeah. Is it monks or I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not very well versed in Eastern culture.
He's sort of an Eastern. He's kind of a fish out of water in this world, because we play in the
Gotcha.
Western European birthright setting. So, but I did kind of open it up, have this kind of Asian land across the sea. So, there's some people from there. But yeah, he is a monk character for sure. Yeah, I agree. And with some of these, first of all, Doc Flamingo, $5. Good to see you, Doc. Good talking to you the other night. When you say players should be allowed to fail, do you mean to imply they should potentially be allowed to survive?
Well, that's a radical notion.
Should they potentially be allowed to survive? Weird. Holy smokes.
That's
J-Mac.
cut off at the top. Double
Yeah,
D.
yeah. Well, hold on one second here.
Make yourself.
I got to fix that for $50. I got to fix that. J-Mac coming in strong with a huge super chat.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
You need to right click on it and change the filter It's a filter that, yeah,
there we go. I just needed to hit the Alt key, Harmony.
Yeah, that works too. I didn't know I didn't know that
Yeah.
shortcut.
I'm a bit of two left thumbs when it comes to that stuff. JMac, $50. Thank you so much, Jay. I let my players know that I'll treat their actions as realistically as possible, given the world their characters are in. I think some players, especially newer ones, still have video game brain. It's important to know this is a different medium. Absolutely. And I would say I'm probably the same. What about you, Harmony?
I mean, exactly. Yeah. JMac's always got really good takes about this stuff, actually. I mean, this is a tabletop RPG. You're not bound by video game limitations because video games are limited by the people who originally conceived them. We're only able to put so much in the programming. You can say, yeah, it gives you a lot of freedom. Skyrim gives you a lot of freedom, but still not the freedom of a tabletop RPG. Because tabletop RPGs, you're only bound by your imagination. So absolutely, it's not a video game. You can fail and the world will adapt to your failure. Whereas in a video game, you have to survive. Like you have to eventually win. And when you fail in a video game, it's going to bring you back to the save point. You're going to do it again and again and again and beat your face against the wall until you survive. That's not a TTRPG.
And I know you did we talked about it on a stream, and I know you did a video on it, the Final Fantasy
a short one, yeah.
tabletop RPG, where they kind of are blurring the lines now between a tabletop game and a video game, saying like, well, if you fail in this, quest or whatever, just do it, do it over. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
how does that even work? It's like, actions have consequences, don't they?
It's silly because what it's doing is it's taking the bounds of programming and transferring it to a tabletop game that doesn't have to live by those bounds. So
Yes.
I'm not certain what they're trying to accomplish with that, but it certainly sounds like someone who wrote it who was very familiar with the Final Fantasy franchise, but not incredibly familiar with tabletop games. And I could be exactly wrong on that. I don't know who wrote it. But it doesn't leverage the advantages of the medium.
Yeah, for sure. It honestly is. Look, if it's a licensed property, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the best product out of it. I don't know if you remember, there was like an EverQuest supplement to 3rd edition and stuff like that. I mean, it's mostly hot garbage. I'm not saying it all is. There's certainly some good transcriptions, but I mean those are usually within the fantasy realm. When you're doing stuff like this, I don't know.
Well, very few franchises are able to make the transition from one medium to another unscathed.
Yep. Tic Tac, I kid you not. There's a group of kids that come into the game store to play D&D, and they just reenact episodes of Critical Role. I don't even think they roll dice.
Oh.
Does that chafe you a little bit, Rogan?
That's sad. It is heartbreaking.
What is your opinion on the Critical Role effect, Harmony?
So first of all, I've never seen Critical Role. I think I might have sat down to watch an episode once and got distracted.
Better for you.
So I'm afraid to speak on this too much. I do think it has brought more people into the hobby, which there are good things about that. But I also think it has diluted the fan base just a little bit to where Wizards is now making products that appeal to this broad audience they got from things like Critical Role and Stranger Things, and may not be thinking about their core fan base. I also think it has created a breed of fair weather fans, of fans who will buy a couple D&D things, but they are going to go on to the next big thing when something else is popular, and many of them already have. And I think that it is likely a waste of time to cater to that sort of fan, because they will abandon your product, they will abandon your franchise when they find something else they like, for the most part. However, I think there are some people who have gotten into D&D via Critical Role who have become like big RPG fans, and not just D&D fans, but have found something that they truly loved through the medium. Now, if you're talking about the Matt Mercer effect specifically, I've never had anything about that come up in my games. I've never had a DM that says, well, this isn't how Matt Mercer does it, or I've never had a player that says, this isn't how Matt Mercer does it, or anything like that. So I haven't seen that, but I mean, I'm sure somebody has.
How come you don't
I'm sure
make the
it's not that
voices?
rare.
How come you don't make the voices when you're playing?
You don't have a stable of 50 different voices?
Come on, Double D. We want to hear the voices.
Where do you find your players?
Yeah, so I found my players in a few places. Some of them came from Twitter. Some of them came when I've posted a few ads on Reddit, Roll20 at some points. But most of my players I've had for several years. Like, I haven't had very many new players in the past 2 or 3 years.
Are they friends or are they just people you game
So, some of each.
Mhm.
I have some groups that are my friends and some groups that are people offline that I game with.
In person or totally online?
So right now I'm totally online. I did have an in-person game. Unfortunately, that fell apart. That was going on for about 2-3 years. I think about 2 years. I think that fell apart for reasons that I really don't want to discuss on here.
Yeah.
But it was sad. But
It always is.
yeah,
You know, 'cause,
I
that's
had
usually the ideal.
I had a wonderful group of friends back when I lived in another state, but then I moved to Florida, and they did not all move with me. So
Right.
that kind of sucked. And it was right before COVID. So as soon as I moved here, everything shut down. It wasn't shut down long, but the game stores did not have the same people coming in playing. So it
Right.
was a little bit sad. I wasn't able to grab an in-person group in Orlando very quickly, but I have had one here, so 2 actually. But yeah.
Well, hey, we'll hope you run into another in-person group. Like I said, in my opinion, that's the way. I don't want to say you should try to play. If it can't happen, it can't happen. But you know, obviously, as you know, it's certainly the ideal.
I certainly agree. In person is by far superior. However, I do think online has its advantages. I mean, I can play with people across the world. I can play with my friends from where I used to live if I play online. However,
For sure.
I mean, yeah, it's not the same, and it will never be the same.
Yep. All right, I'm going to transfer over here a little bit. All right. So, this is talk about like hot news.
Hold on just a second.
Yep. Go ahead. Jeffrem Denkar, old friend, $5. What is your take on the differences between the editions of D&D you've played, and what do you love with each edition that you have played? There, let's go back here just so we can get the full response there. What do you like about each edition that you've played? Thank you, Jeffrey.
I'm not sure if I've played enough 4th edition to answer that. I like the way combat is handled in AD&D the best, probably. It goes very quickly. If you have a DM that knows that can make it move forward quickly. I do enjoy the initiative, but also I enjoy kind of the simplicity of classes. I enjoy the limitations that are placed upon you in AD&D that aren't placed upon you afterwards, like half elves can only be 5 levels of cleric. It kind of forces you to work within bounds a little bit more than later editions, where you can be anything you want and anything can be anything, and there's no rules. You just do whatever. So I think I enjoyed that about AD&D from what I've played so far. 3.5, I like all of the freedom with builds, and I like prestige classes in 3rd edition that did not make it past 3rd, I don't think. Maybe they were in 4th. I didn't play enough 4th to remember. But I like prestige classes for sure. I think that is a really cool concept. And in 5th edition, I like that all my friends know how to play it.
It's damning with faint praise there.
Eric asked a question, but I think Carmody answered it. Where do you guys even find people to play online with?
You said Twitter, right? You
Twitter. You said
so,
Reddit.
Yeah, I've gone to Twitter, Reddit, Discord. Discord groups are really good for this, actually. I didn't say Discord before, but there are a lot of Discord communities for different creators, different I don't know, different communities on Discord that you can find groups in. I grabbed a lot of my players from Discord groups. Yeah.
Yeah, prestige class. I can't remember if they made it into 4. I want to say they either didn't or they were severely like it was very basic.
I don't recall there being prestige classes.
Yeah, maybe there wasn't because I remember there was some slight disappointment on that. Like, oh man, there were definitely things about 4th edition I liked. You know, it one of those games that kind of got a little clunky. The higher you went, just you're dealing with people with like armor classes of like 33, and
Right.
oh, I'm coming at you with an attack bonus of plus 27, and it's like, well, hold on here. It's like you need an abacus to run things after a while. I started in OnlyFans and found that most of my players that way. Bleaker.
That's what I like about you, Bleaker.
Bleaker is our jester here.
I mean, it might be effective.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know about the quality of player you'll get, but
I had the beholder.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this might have come from Kevin Lamb on Twitter. This is from the 50th anniversary book. I just thought this was kind of amusing. I literally found this at like 6:30 today, so I wanted to put it in here because it has to deal with the early days, how Wizards of the Coast is sort of profiteering off of that. We talked to Rob Kuntz, and he is spitting mad at Wizards of the Coast for not even bothering to talk to folks like him or Dave Wesley or any of those guys that were there. But they will put in language like this in their $100. Let me repeat that: $100 50th anniversary book. So this is a passage from the 50th anniversary book that's supposedly there to celebrate the beginnings of the game. Some language in the first iteration of D&D presents a moral quandary. The documents reproduced in this book include many pages of charts and tables alongside lists of monsters, spells, and magic items. But that game content also includes a virtual catalog of insensitive and derogatory language. Words that are casually hurtful to anyone with a physical or mental disability, or who happens to be old, fat, good Lord, spare nothing here, not conventionally attractive, I guess they'd mean ugly, indigenous, black, or a woman. Some people have charitably ascribed this language to authors working from bad assumptions. In the 1970s, historical wargamers in America were predominantly white, middle-class men. It isn't surprising that they would dub a class of soldiers the fighting man. Well, maybe it's because most soldiers throughout history were men, but I digress. When in the pages of Greyhawk, the description of the Queen of Chaotic Dragons includes a dig at women's lib, the misogyny is revealed as a conscious choice. So they're essentially chastising Gary Gygax there. It's an unfortunate fact that women seldom appear in original D&D. And when they do, they're usually portrayed disrespectfully. Slavery appears in original D&D not as a human tragedy that devastated generations over centuries, but as a simple commercial transaction. Fancy that in a game that's played in prehistory. The cultural appropriation of original D&D ranges from the bewildering, like naming every 6th level cleric a llama, to the staggering, gods, demigods, and heroes, not reprinted in this book, includes game statistics for sacred figures revered by more than 1 billion people around the world. Were players expected to fight Vishnu, one of the principal deities of Hinduism, kill him and loot his +3 sword of demon slaying? Sounds like fun to me. What about
a real hoot?
Yeah, sounds like a
It
hoot to
sounds
me.
like they don't even play. Like, who asked them? Who cares?
Right.
Just reprint the stuff.
I mean, do you, as a woman, I guess, do you take exception that in the early days of D&D, when it was predominantly a man's game, and not by any conscious choice. That's just the way it ended up, at least at first, using terms like fighting man and stuff like that. Does that bother you?
I'm working on a video about this right now. No, not at all. It was a game made by men for men. Like, I mean, of course they didn't exclude women from it. Gygax never excluded women.
No.
Just
one of the first playtesters, I think, was a woman.
Sure. I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. And it's silly. Like, it's silly to complain about stuff like this. These people have nothing else going on in their lives, I swear. Who cares?
You will pay $100 for them to just dump on.
Like hell, I will.
Yeah, I know you won't. I know I won't. But it's like these people. It's really why there's this thing on Twitter. Whenever somebody from the media does something shady, which is all the time, it's like somebody will always post, "You don't hate the media enough," and it's like you don't. In my opinion, these days you don't hate Wizards of the Coast near enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's just really disrespectful to the people whose game they're like reproducing now. Like, this game came from roots that they don't like. I wish they'd just sell it to someone else if they don't like where it came from.
Yes, exactly. Patrick Demo, $5. Let me sneak this one in, Harmony. I find it funny that at least Disney doesn't shit all over George Lucas the same way that Wizard of the Coast shits on the creators of their purchased IP. Exactly, that's a great point. Yeah. I mean, they're ruining it, but at least they're not, openly like taking pot shots at George. So go ahead. Yeah. I think I might have interrupted you there.
No, it's fine. I just think they should sell it to somebody who's not going to shit all over the original designers. It's silly.
I still wonder if they're going to try to I think it all depends on how they deem the rollout of this new edition or update or whatever the F it is. If it's good financially, they may be looking for somebody to take the hot potato.
That's the one I wanted right there.
Yeah, they don't do this because Lucas is still alive. Wait for him to die. See that magic happen. Yeah, Laren Jaco, that's probably a good point. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, because all I hear about Gary Gygax is about how sexist he was, how he put the random harlot table in his book, which, by the way, anyone who shits on the random harlot table hasn't read the random harlot table, because that one's really good.
It is, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's it's silly.
The thing is, he was just like a normal guy. People think like, oh, he went around, he was just this drooling caveman. Like, I remember, he was very accessible towards the end of his life. He had a Q&A thread on EN World that spanned years. So if you had a question for him, all you did was dump it there. And for the most part, if it was something that hadn't already been covered before, he would get to it and answer you personally. He'd quote you, and he answered. It's still around. You can find it. Just Google Gary Gygax Q&A thread, and it's many hundreds of pages. But you get to see the kind of guy he was, and also the kind of gamer he was, which I think is actually really interesting. He never he never hated women. I think he was just like all of us. Like, look, I did a video a while ago, and people thought it was sexist, and I was just kind of saying like how kind of the female mindset is kind of wearing away a little bit at the underpinnings of what role playing used to be, and what I think should be. And by that, I only meant this kind of like safety conscious, like, oh, we got to use safety tools, or everybody has to be included, stuff like that. I would assign that. And maybe you could tell me if you disagree. I would assign that more to maybe the feminine mind. And all I said in the video is, look, most women who played back in the day, and I played for a long time in the 90s, my group was 3 women and 2 men that I was running a campaign for. The women kind of understood, the bargain there. They didn't do any of that kind of bullshit. Essentially, they were one of the guys. So I don't know, how do you come down on that?
I mean, I think women and men Yeah, no, I think women and men definitely are different. Our minds work differently, and I mean, it's down to the molecular pathways. They're biological mechanisms that are different in our brains, and I think that's a good thing. Of course, like we're meant to complement each other. And one thing that I believe that women are, I don't want to say better at, but more conscious of, is including people. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it goes too far, and you can be inclusionary to the point of exclusion. It needs to be checked sometimes. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think you're right on target with that.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't attacking women. You know, any woman who could, I guess, obey the bargain is welcome at my table. You know, my wife has always, pretty much been a player. My daughter plays. My daughter's girlfriend does. Every so often. So it's like, I mean, just don't understand the compact, that we have, and we have no issue. Like you said, women are great at certain things. This is one where I think they have to at least check one part of their nature. So empathy versus systemizing. Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with saying anyone can come to our table, but you have to understand that we make jokes about this, this, and this, and if that offends you, you should probably find another table. There's nothing in the world wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Tell you what, let's go. I was going to go through the 44. Maybe we'll come back to it.
Oh boy. Okay.
I wanted to see, but I promised a little bit of our friend Jeffro and the Pro SR and one-to-one time.
Okay.
So I just caught this. If you want to grab that chat there, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy Mouse. We'll put this up here first. Jeffram, $5 Canadian. Thank you, my friend. They hate the game, but their ideology demands that they convert everything to their ideology, as they see everyone else as the bad guys. Well, yeah, succinctly put and 100% correct. Yeah, they have an idea of who their audience is, and I don't want to say they don't care if they get anybody else, but they're not much bothered if they get rid of folks like me. Patrick Demo, my wife and I met through gaming. That is great. Love to hear stories like that. All right, so you are, and believe me, I was chastised by a former fan of mine because I included you in the Bro SR, even though I was just kind of quoting Condor DM's video about you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you are. I guess we could say that, like a lot of people, maybe you're not like full Bro SR, but you are.
No, I'm not in that clique at all. I am friends with a few people on the periphery of it, and I spoke for an hour on my channel to Jeffro. That is true. That is the thing I did. However, do you know how they talk about me though? They're like, "Oh yeah, that's the women's division. We don't talk about the women's division." That's my impression of them. But,
so gay.
That is goofy.
It is so gay.
I'm not. Yeah, so I'm friends with a couple people that are in the Bro SR and a few more people on the outskirts. And I mean, I have a lot of respect for a lot of people in that clique. I think it's full of really good
You like
guys.
some of the ideas, I guess, right?
And I like some of the ideas and some of the people in it. But it's not my clique. I mean, it's a fraternity. I'm not a guy. I'm not in their back channels. I'm not in their game groups. I just read some of their blogs and that's it.
And this is where, God, Jeffro is such a retard. Because we discussed how I said someone like you would be a much better spokesman than someone as grating and like purposely edgy as he is. He drives so many people away, and it's obvious that he has some things that are interesting to a lot of people. The refocus on all the Schedule N material. This one-to-one time, which I do have some problems with. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Okay.
But he's just so unlikable. I've never seen a guy as unlikable, like push. It's not even like it's like the world's like most low stakes cult in history. It's like him and like maybe 15, 20 guys. And it's about how manly RPGs are. That's why this kind of
Wait. What makes it a cult?
the way the and I'm going to talk about everybody, but that inner core of, like I said, about 15 to 20 people, the way they talk about him. And at first I thought like, oh, they're joking, and they're like, oh my God, Jeff Rowe has changed gaming. Jeff Rowe has Jeff Rowe's right again. It's like they blow smoke up his ass like all the time. It's weird. In fact, I was watching an interview with him, and I think his name's Jade Dubs or something like that. It was on that Dunder Moose's channel.
Oh yeah. I think that's him and B-Dubs. Yeah.
Oh, B-Dubs. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's just like it just seems so weird. It's like we're playing a game that we get together. You know, if you're lucky enough to do it in person, it's like you eat fucking snacks. You tell a collective story, roll some dice. You know, maybe make some jokes. You're supposed to have a good time and
pick on each other.
Yeah, pick on each other a little bit. This thing where we have to inject masculinity into one of the least masculine pastimes is just anathema to me. It's not so much a cult as it is a dance studio. Exactly, Bleecker. Yes.
The few times I've listened to him talk, it always devolves into that his whatever. What dance does he do? Is swing dance?
Swing dance.
Swing dance.
Yeah.
And that's a. I would love to learn how to dance. I'm a little bit beyond that, to be quite honest to you. But and that's probably a great hobby. But
Harmony.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done there. Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
You guys seem to have a lot of questions and a lot of a lot to say about the Brosar. I think you should invite Jeffro on. No, I really do. I think I do.
You think he would? He locked down his Twitter. I can't even see his tweets anymore.
Harmony set it up.
All right, yeah.
You want me to set it up?
Well, look, I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to rule it out. But boy, what do you guys say, Rogan? What do you think?
You know what? Go for it. This has been this dude's lightning rod. Apparently, I've only heard a little bit of what he has to say, and it all devolves into dancing.
Remember that Geraldo show where the guy threw the chair?
Yeah, clocking good.
Yes,
that is good for TV.
A virtual version of that. We get the viewers. I would treat it very professionally, even though I do have a lot of issues.
Yeah,
with
Bacon
him.
Gaming is saying, "Heck yeah, man, bring the popcorn."
Well, yeah, it is worth. I mean, I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. I'm really curious as to, how that discussion would go. Hey, if he illuminates us, that all the better.
So, I mean, I don't think I have to set it up because we've been sitting here talking about him for like 10 minutes now. There is zero chance in the world a man with his ego is not watching this. So
pop in, Jeffro. Come on. If you pop in, I'll start to play a little nicer. Look, if it's between you and Condor, I don't like Condor. I hate Condor more than I don't hate Jeffro. I think he's kind of a dork. He's grating and annoying. But I think he does have some points, but he does shit like, all right. So for example, we might be getting into the weeds because I know you obviously know what a Bronstein is, but like in that, before I start, we'll grab that from a new friend, J-Mac. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I exude masculinity whenever I put on my barmaid voice when the bard is trying to sweet talk me free. Exactly. It's like, yeah, that's what you're trying to do. And to associate that with being, I don't know, masculine, just strikes me as a little odd. But one thing I didn't like in that Dundermoose interview is he spent a significant amount of time I don't know, taking like pot shots at Dave Wesley. He kind of was poo-pooing the idea that Bronsteins were like the proto RPG. And instead he was saying like, well, Tunnels and Trolls is the first RPG. And I'm like, what the F is this guy talking about. But then people like him, they always contradict themselves, because then a little bit later on, he's talking about how if your Jeffro, Bro SR game is going well enough, eventually it'll turn into a Bronstein. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, is that a good thing or a bad? Because you just got done telling us that a Bronstein wasn't even really an RPG. Jeffro is like Tate. He makes a few interesting or two-ish points. He just usually wraps it in nausea. Exactly, yeah. And look, I understand some of it is the game, pay, and not like the RPG game, but just like how to get a little bit of, heat, a little bit of attention. I understand that to a point. Although I would love to see an actual Bro SR game run. All I get is there's these reports, and they don't, nobody's ever done like a live play of like one of these Bro SR games, as far as I can tell. Now, I'm sure they'll correct me if I'm wrong.
Double D, was that the guy that named his cities Azad?
Yeah,
that's like Doucheville and
Douchopolis. Like Harmony, if you sat down new player to game and you had a town on the map, he unfolds it and says, "All right, this is the world," and there's a town called Douchopolis,
and they're all
I'm pretty sure his players named that, but I'm not 100%.
Well,
I don't
the
think
players
he
could try to
named
name it, and then I would say all right, guys, good try. Let's go for something a little bit more, a little better, or who caresville.
Yeah, I have no room to talk. My players made arachno-capitalists, so they're spider.
Put the screws to them.
Yeah, no, I mean it's the game they want to play.
To me, then you start running up against immersion, right? Like,
I mean,
and the Black Lodge guys, would talk about how important immersion is, and I agree with them, to a large extent, and a lot of other people too. I can't get immersed in a game that has a city called Douchopolis. I mean, that's just
me.
But
it's not for you. It's for his players. I mean, every group's different. You can't you can't make of course. I wouldn't run a city. I probably wouldn't run a city named Douchopolis anyway, but of course I wouldn't run that for you or for a general audience. I mean, you have to understand the types of players he has. They're bros. They're there to they're like macho Mandoff. You know what I'm saying? They're there to be bros. They're not there
Harmony,
to play
it's funny
your
you
type of
just said
immersion
that
game.
because that literally
is he
just
in
came
chat?
through on the chat.
Oh, what? Okay.
Come on, by dressing up like a wrestler and making a challenge to him like the Macho Man would.
Yeah.
Well, we had Bishop Buffro on a long time ago. Maybe he'll make an appearance.
Does Jeffro ever run Fatal?
I don't know. That's his next target.
Oy.
I understand what you're saying to some extent. I would push back on that though, and just say that's fine, but don't then talk to me about how serious RPGs are, because they will also tell you about that too, like how important and serious RPGs are. Okay, if you're running a joke campaign, or I don't want to say like a farcical, but certainly we'll call it a light campaign. That's fine. But in these games, you have players scheming against each other. I don't know. It just seems like a disconnect between what the world is and what actually happens. You know what I mean? So
here's the disconnect to me. I think the biggest disconnect with this is how silly and kind of dumb it sounds at face value. Like we have Who Caresville and Doucheland, and you're like, this is not a serious game. And Muppets, I think that was in a different game, but you have like the Muppets and stuff. And that doesn't sound like a serious game, right? But then I don't see any other games where the players are all on Twitter talking about how much fun they're having all the time. These guys are having fun. These guys love the game. And that's the weird disconnect to me. That's what actually got me interested in what they were doing, so that I could try to replicate it for my games, because these guys were really, really excited to be a part of this game. And yeah, you may not be. You may get up and walk away from a table as soon as you see Who Caresville, but these guys loved it. They were having so much fun. They were having more fun than any other game I've seen on Twitter.
Well, point taken. Jeff Hatch, $10. Hey guys, put me and my son in your prayers. We are going to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo this weekend to PolyCon with real life college students. You are in our prayers, Jeff. Absolutely. Let us know how it goes. Would you?
Definitely let us know.
Yeah. Me and Rogan will need those prayers when we go to Gen Con.
I'm excited about it. It's been a handful of years.
I'm more excited on like doing channel stuff there than actually like any gaming
You
stuff.
have a con before then.
You know what? Thank you, Crazy Mouse, as always. There's a little saying we have here: Crazy Mouse is always right.
That is not correct, but thank you.
That is our saying.
Yes.
You can say it; it doesn't make it true. But thanks for putting it out in the universe.
VentureCon 3 is coming up next month. It's a month away. Friday, July 19th through Sunday, the 21st. There are still spots available. I think there's still rooms. Rogan, myself, and Mrs. D, and I think Chris Miller, who I don't see in the chat, but I think Chris Miller said he's going to try to come.
I've not seen Chris Miller yet today.
Yeah, but on Twitter he reached out and said, "Hey, I think I'm going to go to VentureCon."
Awesome.
They moved like the Democratic National Convention for this.
It was the
Republican National Convention for this.
I don't think that's necessary. I know I said Crazy Mouse is always right. Sometimes Crazy Mouse jokes too.
What did they have to do? Did the convention have to book rooms, and this guy had them booked, so they had to pick somewhere else or something?
Yeah, I think it's like earlier that week, I believe. So hopefully, unless there's any laggards at the
maybe they'll go to the con.
Yeah, we'll wait outside the arena in Milwaukee. Hey, come on down. Yeah, it's in Madison. We're about 8.5 hours away, so we're gonna drive it. If you're within distance to drive it, have fun with us. Old school games and such, shenanigans. We'll test the nightlife of Madison too, I'm sure.
Travis is saying that Chris will be there.
Excellent. Well, guys, you're getting me, Rogan, Mrs. D, and Chris Miller. Come on. Now, Harmony's in Florida, so you have an excuse.
Yeah.
You have an excuse.
No road trip for you.
Yeah, that's
not happening. Not that far.
Harmony, I respect that, but those Wright brothers worked hard on that plane.
Yeah. You know what? You've convinced me. If you buy me a ticket, I'll go.
There you go.
Oh, let's crowdfund that.
A little crowdfunding. Damn.
J Mac, Howard Hughes, Snake Oil. Where are you at? Step up.
All right, so you can kind of see here what Jeffro's sort of all about. This is the part that drives people away, despite the good points, that he makes, once in a blue moon, and folks like you who occasionally will sack up for his better parts. People who can't defend themselves physically, women and low T men, parse information through a consensus filter as a safety mechanism. Sort of agree with that based on my video earlier. They literally do not ask, is this true? They ask, will others be okay with me thinking this is true? This makes them very malleable to brute force manufactured consensus. If every screen they look at says the same thing, they will adopt that position because their brain interprets it as everyone in the tribe believing it. Only high T alpha males and neurotypical people, hey, autists, are actually free to parse new information with an objective, is this true filter. This is why the Bro SR playstyle is the best for tabletop RPGs, a hobby, but only for those who are free to think. This is the stuff that just drives people crazy because he sounds like an unhinged retard. I know that's not him saying that, but he's...
Yeah, it's not.
Holy smokes. Well, Harmony, I'm willing to front this.
Wait, what days are this? Because I might have to eat my words.
It's July. I think it's hold
19th,
on.
Right?
Oh, is it the 19th?
19, 20, and 21.
Yeah, 19, 20, 21. Oh, there you go.
I have a grad party that day.
She's like,
Patrick wants to know, Double D, what your hotel situation looks like. And I don't know if he means VentureCon, because I know Patrick will be at Gen Con. So I'm not sure which con he's talking about.
yeah, we're at the JW for Gen Con, Patrick. And we're right there at the Sun, the Hilton Garden Inn for VentureCon. You can put Snake Oil Sean's back up, by the way. Let's recognize that. Get to VentureCon. Well, if I tell you what, if Harmony decides she wants to go, Harmony, you come to me. You have a $50 voucher. I will forward that to you. JMac, I'll be at Gen Con with a prototype of the TTRPG. My team and I are working on. Oh yeah, I'd like to see that. Yeah, getting Wee Wheaton on Twitter. JMac. So get a hold of me. I know there's a couple others.
Hungar's trying to go to VentureCon.
Oh, nice. Boy, Hungar. That would be the bee's knees.
I've stayed at the JW for Gen Con before. It's a
Love
pretty
the
good
JW.
experience, yeah.
It is kind of nice to people watch. I know Crazy Mouse likes doing that.
I've been to Gen Con twice. They were both at JW, and I enjoyed the people watching. I enjoyed the breakfast buffet with Rogan, and then some nincompoop that we were with didn't come down for our breakfast, so I had, like a hobbit did, I had a second breakfast right after that. So, but I enjoyed the JW.
Oh, Stira, I think that's the name of the restaurant. The JW.
Yeah.
Asteria, yeah. Fantastic breakfast.
I used to live in Indiana, so I would work Gen Con and run Fantasy Flight games there.
Awesome.
Really?
Yeah, every year.
How long ago was this?
It was probably from about 2013 to 17-ish. I ran Fantasy Flight games at Gen Con and Origins and a few other smaller cons.
You were running like Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Yep.
So the ones I ran at those conventions, I would teach people how to play, were Twilight Imperium, Cosmic Encounter, Tigris and Euphrates, Innis. Let's see what else. Ra. Wait, was not Ra. I'm sorry. That was something else. I can't remember what else they put me on, but those were the ones I did most.
Do you like the I can't remember what it's called, the Trail of Dracula or whatever, where you have to try to find Dracula? Have you ever played that one?
That's the hidden role game. That's not the right name, but I can't remember what the right name is.
It's not a hidden role. It's like one person is Dracula and they have to try to
the
go
hidden,
over Europe.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Hidden
it's
travel.
Like it's like Scotland Yard.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a great game.
I didn't run
Fury
that one,
of Dracula.
Fury of Dracula. Yes,
that's what I thought it was. Yeah.
Yes.
Say it with your chest, Harmony. Come on, you have it. Say
it. Yeah. Well,
we'll edit it out if you're wrong. Don't worry.
This is live.
Yeah, that's a great game. Yeah, we should definitely do that again. Yeah, for sure. That's great. You were. I'm wondering. I mean, obviously, going back in time, there may have been times where we were right next to each other, at a Gen Con.
Maybe we've met. Maybe I taught you how to play a game.
I never played. I always kind of felt Twilight Imperium because we were able to put it on the table so regularly. I always thought it was a bit of a waste at Gen Con because it took so much time.
Yeah.
But I understand there's people out there who don't have a group, so maybe they go to Gen Con just to play it, which I'm fine.
JP saying Origins is this weekend if anyone's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's game group is going to be light tonight because so many, because we're fairly close to Columbus.
I always thought Origins was later on.
No, it's now.
It's usually before Gen Con. Yeah, you in Ohio?
Pennsylvania, but northwestern Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
So it's only about 4 hours away.
Okay.
Yeah, and Gen Con, Indy was it's like 6.5.
I think what Rogan's referring to, Origins might have been moved 1 year because of COVID to later into the fall.
Yeah, that might be.
But this is its traditional time.
Yeah, it's usually before.
So I bought a ticket, but we never went.
I did too. Yeah, we were all going to go. It was the first year of COVID. And,
wah.
Yeah, what you gonna do?
The world shut down. Jeff Hatch is saying that there's a tabletop game in North Texas con.
That just happened though, I believe.
Because he's asking if do you go to it?
Go to
so
North
maybe
Texas.
it's I don't know.
I would like
Jeff,
to.
is it coming up or did it already happen?
Yeah, it already just happened. And I would kind of like to. It seems like they get a lot of folks in this neck of the woods. How about you, Harmony? Would you ever go to North Texas?
I mean,
Con?
Texas is cool. I don't know. I don't like traveling.
I hear that. I understand. Yeah.
I'm way down in Florida. So
on the bottom part.
Here.
On the bottom part.
No, I'm like half like I'm in Orlando, so I'm like on the shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you how often do you go to Disney, or is it one of those things you've never went to Disney? Or
It's one of those. I don't really go to Disney, but I like this place. So
we have like in the summertime, we have like world-class beaches here that people would travel, many miles to get to. Close your eyes and you could be, I don't want to say like, on the ocean or, in, Hilton Head or wherever, but if you're in that city, after a while, you just kind of ignore it. Like my wife said, "Hey, you want to go to the beach today?" And I'm like, "Beach? Boy, we haven't been to the beach in like 5 years."
And Double D, exactly what you're saying is true. Our oldest, KG, who was picking colleges, was like, "Oh, I'm really thinking of coastal Carolina because it's at Myrtle Beach, and I'll be at the beach." And I'm like, "We have a beach here."
When was the last time you were
people
there?
travel all over the country to come to,
and there are no sharks.
Yeah.
JP, I got news for you, buddy. My wife and I are gonna be in Put-in Bay
this weekend.
It's our anniversary. It's not quite our anniversary, but we're gonna celebrate it early. So we are going to Put-in Bay, amigo. So that should be interesting. A ginger in Florida, yikes! Great Goldberg.
Wear sunscreen.
That could be treacherous.
The best question here is actually Eve, Evil Minion, asking how often I go to Wawa. So there's a Wawa right across from my house that's open 24/7. So the answer is a lot.
All the time.
Really? I didn't think Wawa's with the far south.
They're in Florida. They're like up in the Northeast and Florida. So
yeah, we're
sheets
here.
I blocked someone on Twitter for saying that for saying that pub subs were better.
Oh, jeez.
So those were fighting words, apparently.
You got to stand your ground. Got to stand your ground.
Patrick Demo. I have a hotel room 2 blocks from the convention center that I had originally reserved for someone, but they backed out and told me after the deadline, "Oh boy, if I cancel this room, I'm stuck with a $300 fee."
How much? Send me a message because my hotel this is in Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
My hotel is a little farther than that.
Yeah. Patrick, can you you can look if you're not on Twitter.
Yeah, Rogan.
Look, you'll see Rogan. You can see me, and I'll forward it to him and get you guys talking. Or if you're not on Twitter, I'll put my business email here. Pardon me, Harmony. You can just talk if you want.
Well, there's a question here. Someone Evil's talking about Wawas are in southern Jersey. He has one right side of his house as well.
I know that's a debate in Pennsylvania. Sheets or Wawas.
Yeah, we have sheets here.
We have country fairs too.
Patrick, there's my email address for the channel. So just if you're not on Twitter, you can just send me something there, and I'll get you and Rogan talking. Or if you are on Twitter, I'm sure you can find me. I'm pretty easy to find at Wee Wheaton. But thank you for the heads up there.
Yeah. Get rid of that. How do you make that go away, Double D? Just hit that X?
Yeah, hit X.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then...
Dude, as a Canadian, I had Wawa, but always wanted... I never had Wawa, but always wanted to. I stopped by one in Orlando, and it was life-changing. I dream of it weekly.
Wow.
Jeez.
It's really great. And so I'm a type 1 diabetic, and they have food that I can eat. Like I can eat like normal human food at Wawa.
Yeah, I think Sheets is pretty good on that too. I don't go there very often, but I know my kids did. You know, that was like the teen hangout.
KG does.
I tell you, every time I get something from Sheets, I got a pretty good constitution. I always end up with the diarrhea. Always.
You get the runs.
I get the rheas.
Careful.
Yeah, Sheets gives you the
Rather
shits.
embarrassing. Yeah, every single time. Like I said, I've got a very good constitution, but holy moly, I can't hang there. Not at all.
This guy
People, do
saying
me a
Wawa.
favor. Go smash that like button. Overkill says we only have 58 likes. Jiminy Christmas. Take 1 second to smash that real quick.
Smash it. What were you saying, Harmony? Go ahead.
This JP over here says Wawa coffee is life, but it is true that it's half the price and twice as good as Starbucks. So
Not
I'll
a coffee
back him
drinker
that.
here, so I would not know. Well, I never thought
Yeah,
we'd be
that's
getting into the Wawa
probably
versus
the best.
Sheets debate.
Oh, you're having me on, and you didn't think you were going to get in the Wawa debates?
My apologies.
I'm so curious. I want to go to a Wawa's now.
I guess we were to kind of finish up because I did want to talk about, and I'll tell you,
Man, look at Double D wrangling us back.
well, sorry, I got it. I'm like the
all right,
teacher who has to.
All right,
we
crazy
can
mouse.
go back to it. We can go back to it.
Hear what the boss said? Okay.
But I did tease it. You've experimented with Jeff Rose like 1-to-1 time playing, correct?
Yeah.
You've had a pretty positive experience.
Overall,
with
yeah.
it.
It's done good things for my campaign, yeah.
And essentially, correct me if I'm wrong here, it's essentially you're running, like you mentioned earlier, you kind of already talked about it. It's a shared world, but you have two groups. But the difference is with 1-to-1 time passes in the game world at the same rate it does in the real world. So if there's 7 days in between sessions, that's 7 days of the game world that pass. Is that correct?
As a rule of thumb, yes. Not necessarily always, because you meet once a week, and so you can cover the major events that happen that week. You can cover wherever you want to in that week during your game. But yes, for as a rule of thumb, for every real life day that passes, every day in game passes. Now, this is mostly a rule on downtime. You do assume that the players have about a week of downtime in between sessions. It's really nice for allowing classes that shine on downtimes, like that shine on downtime, like rogues and I believe the assassin and AD&D and wizards have time to copy spells. Basically, it allows people to plan while knowing exactly how much time has passed. And it also allows people to not feel like they have to be at every session, because if we start every session at a safe point and end at a safe point, then that means that if somebody can't make it, you're not carrying them around like Weekend at Bernie's style. They just don't come. It's fine.
Do you get together once a week with your groups?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess and I never know how strict 1-to-1 DMs are being. You know, my only thing is I know you're always supposed to end a session at a safe point.
Yes.
But what always drives me a little crazy about it is, all right, so you're in the middle of a dungeon. You are literally, we'll say, in front of a door that you've been, waiting to get to the whole time. Oh, this is the end of our quest. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, it's midnight. Shouldn't we knock off? And then you're like, oh, okay, well, our players, pack up, retrace their steps in the dungeon and go back to the village of Helix or, wherever they are. To me, that's sort of using out of game situations for their characters' in-game actions. That's a disconnect I could never, ever get my head around. Convince me though.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, the characters are going to be fairly weary, having been going for a whole afternoon. But also, it's not any better, I think, to hit the pause button in there, because what a lot of DMs end up doing is having like 3, 4, 5 sessions in the same dungeon where in game, not a whole lot of time has passed, but the players are like doing a bunch of different things in that dungeon, and it's like their characters do need to rest. You can't just like take a long rest in a dungeon. That's silly. And some DMs allow that. But I mean, with this, if you are strictly timekeeping, which you should be, I'm not going to say every DM should use one-to-one time, but every DM should be timekeeping. But if you're strictly timekeeping with this method of timekeeping with pause time, you're going to end up covering like 2 weeks of time, if you're lucky, in an entire year. Your characters aren't going to age. You're not going to have events happen. You're not going to see lunar cycles. Lots of things just will not happen in your game world. And yeah, sometimes there are mega dungeons that are difficult to get through in one-to-one time, but you can still do it. There are ways to get there. Like, for example, finding portals from one floor to another in a mega dungeon is a big deal in a one-to-one game. You can have scrolls or something that can teleport them back if you need to. Like, there are ways to do it, but more importantly, it makes the DM ask a very important question every single time they go to this dungeon, which is, they haven't been in this amount of time. What has happened here in this time? So have the denizens been pushed back all the way, and are they like retreating? Is something else coming in? Are they hiring more reinforcements? What's happening in this time? And that's a really interesting question that has led to some of the most interesting moments in my game so far. He says, Harmony, using one-to-one time, do you ever let players run multiple characters to fill on for downtime activity? Yes. Yes, I do. A lot of my players have two characters. Yeah. Because sometimes they have one character in one part of the world and one character in another part. And yeah, it depends on where we pick up each week. But the time moves for the whole world.
Yeah, I don't use one-to-one time, but I will say, even just discussing the issue, I'm like, should I at least pay a little bit more attention to the calendar in game? And I'm like, you know what? I don't think there's any harm in that. So I think you can probably implement. I don't even want to say versions of it, but I think overall it's a net benefit to the DM and the players to kind of know, like, okay, we're in this part of the year. We have these things in front of us on the calendar, so to speak. I understand what you're saying. I still slightly disagree.
That's fine.
Let me push you one more. Okay, you're in the middle of a session and somebody gets an emergency call. Maybe their loved one gets into a minor accident or something.
Sure.
Nothing life changing or terrible, but they're like, hey, I got to go.
Yeah.
Like and then everybody's like, well, hey, let's stop at mid-session. What do you do?
Right. So first of all, this is an edge case, and I'm going to base how I run time based on what works well for the majority of cases. And I actually had that happen last game I ran. A player realized that he was feeling sick and had to drop out. And I mean, they weren't that far out of town. His character just went back to town, and he didn't get the experience for the rest of the session, but we continued. I don't believe in canceling for one player. As long as I have players willing to play, we're going to play. But yeah, it's not a big issue. Normally they can get back to safety. Sometimes they can't. But I mean, I think I think that's way less of a problem than if you paused in the middle of a dungeon and you come back the next week, but like one of your guys can't make it the next week. Do you cancel the whole session and wait for him? Do you bot his character? Does he go back through the dungeon by himself? Like what happens there? I would say that that's probably a bigger problem than what you described.
All right, fair enough. What are
Here's a question from Jeff.
Good.
For Harmony. Let me pop that up.
Do you ever do one-to-one for spells?
I don't know what he means by that.
Yeah, could you elaborate on that, Jeff? We'll catch it if you elaborate. I wasn't quite sure on that either.
But
what are some of your inspirations, like books, movies, TV shows?
Crazy Mouse.
So
Crazy.
Yeah, definitely Crazy Mouse. He's been my muse. But aside from Crazy Mouse, so I read a lot more sci-fi than I do fantasy. Right now, like recently, I read through the Three Body Problem series. That was pretty good. I think my favorites of all time, I would say, are A Mote in God's Eye by Larry Niven. That's probably one of my favorites. That's up there. I read a lot of mostly sci-fi stuff. Some fantasy, of course. There's Lord of the Rings. There's a couple of things like that. But for the most part, I'm a sci-fi reader.
So you read sci-fi. What do you watch?
Like
Shows or
TV?
movies? Yeah.
Okay.
Anything in genre, I guess.
Okay. So in genre. Oh gosh, not in genre. I'm an all over the place person. My favorite TV series of all time. I have two of them: Breaking Bad, and there is one called Utopia on Channel 4. It is beautiful. Nobody's ever heard of it, but it's like the greatest of all time. It's a British show, and everyone should watch it. And I always recommend that.
Is it current?
It's 2013.
So you watched Breaking Bad. Did you watch Better Call Saul?
I'm in the middle of it. I'm on
There you
season
go.
3. Yeah.
There you go.
Great show too.
That's just
Yeah.
as good. Yep.
Great show.
But I use those for I guess I borrow some things from that, but not a whole lot. Really, if you're the one piece of media I have borrowed the most from is like this 90s video game that no one I know has played until recently, because I've been recommending it to everyone, called Star Control 2. It got re-released on Steam recently under Free Stars. It was from 1992. It's if you haven't played that one, I blatantly plagiarized from it. So
I always said Matt Mercer always said your ability to look like a genius as a DM is usually based on the obscurity of the things that you can steal from. So one of the few things I actually thought Matt Mercer was actually kind of I don't want to say prescient, but it is true. He used some of this stuff for inspiration and that. And look, if nobody's ever seen it, you're like, wow, you're a genius.
Where'd you come up with that?
Yeah. Whoa, this guy's next level. Here's Jeff Hatch, by the way. If a spell says detect magic lasts 30 minutes, he's had a DM who says set a timer. So it's like 30 minutes of table time. I guess.
No, so 1-to-1 applies for out of session. It is shorthand for 1 real life day equals 1 in-game day when determining downtime. For spells that last a certain amount of time, I kind of go with what makes sense. Like, if you take a rest, all right, that 30 minutes is up. That one's really more of what makes sense. Yeah, I understand what he's asking now.
And I agree with you with what makes sense, because when we're talking about 1-to-1 time, I don't know why, but my mind went to like a combat. And if you're doing 1-to-1 time, you have 6 seconds to make up your mind and roll your dice. And that just seems,
there you go.
Next. Time's up. Next.
That's
4, 3, 2,
1.
Next.
No. So that's a misconception of what is meant by 1-to-1 time. It's really a shorthand of Gygax's rule, where 1 real life day equals 1 in-game day, while not in session. That is a very important part. That doesn't mean
the
if you.
That's what I thought. I knew that what didn't mean your round.
No.
I have to say that might be rather exciting. Let's get
lightning
it
round.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't mean anything like if you travel for 3 hours in game, you're expected to sit there quietly for 3 hours and listen to Oregon Trail music. That is not what that means.
Mote in God's Eye, is that the one with like the elephant creatures, or am I thinking is that
yeah,
football?
so they had like little modis, basically. I think they were like furry, if I remember correctly, but they had like an explosive population. They were really friendly to humans at first, and then the humans realized, oh shit, if these guys get here, they're gonna explode in population and destroy us. It's a really great first contact novel. That's my favorite
I think
genre.
I read that like ages ago.
That's one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah.
It's so my favorite genres are, I have very kind of niche actually, are first contact and medical sci-fi are my favorite genres. So
excellent.
We were going to click on that at the same time.
I had a feeling, we were.
Medical sci-fi. That's interesting.
Yep.
You recently talked to Dungeons and Discourse. My first question is, did the D&D scandal get worse after you talked to her? Every video of theirs. The D&D scandal just got worse, or the D&D scandal's okay.
Say what you want about her, but she's playing the YouTube game.
Oh yeah,
we all are. Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah. That's why.
Wait, so there's a female Double D?
Mm-hmm.
Well, sort of. Yes, technically yes. Actually, I was kind of. I watched some of Dungeons and Discourse's stuff earlier on. It's not strictly for me, but I found them to be pretty entertaining. As far as
Snake Oil loves them.
Snake Oil, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of experience with war games. Not afraid to take the piss out of Wizards of the Coast. So kind of liked it. Love Dungeons. Yeah, perfectly open about her titles being clickbait. Yeah, yeah, a lot of folks do.
Yeah. Man, I thought we were the only show that everyone watched. Man, YouTube's big.
I'm starting to get intimidated.
Yeah, I learned she was controversial recently. I got some. I got a little bit of flack for having her on, but not as much as Jeffro. But yeah, really.
I've watched a handful of
didn't
videos.
actually know she was controversial at all, but yeah,
I didn't think controversial. I just didn't know if she meshed well with kind of like the folks in this neck of the woods, so to speak. But
I don't know. I just like talking to people with different viewpoints and seeing what people think. It's how you get smarter.
It's how you grow.
I was surprised when she said that she pretty much thought every role-playing game was a war game to some extent. I was like,
yeah, that was an interesting take of hers. I actually, so you were talking about Bronstein games before. Something she said that I thought was so interesting was that she thought every role-playing game was a war game because she thinks that you are independently trying to work up your own faction and your own army. And she likes playing kind of a co-optional, almost competitive game with her, with the other players. And I'm like, oh, you're a bro. And she had no idea what that means, but she was.
Goldschlager was wondering if she was a she.
I think they're trans, if I'm not mistaken, right? Are they trans?
As far as I'm aware, she is a she.
Male to female trans, I think. But to her credit, I mean, she doesn't like make it doesn't seem like she makes a big.
I am unaware.
Discourse is trans.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure about that. I didn't know.
Jeff Hatch has a AV Club question.
How can I send a email to another chat? I'm not entirely sure what you mean there, Jeff.
Try it. See what happens.
Send an email to another chat. Not sure.
Usually bomb goes off in the background somewhere.
I saw you were. I saw you called Dungeons and Discourse out about the explosions and in the background of her thumbnail.
Yeah, I was like, let's be optimistic. But I mean, I know what she's doing. She's playing the YouTube game. It's how it goes,
Oh yeah, you want to be successful, you gotta kind of play that game a little bit. Like the Black Lodge guys, they're also pretty good at that as far as kind of figuring out.
Oh, they have really good thumbnails. I wish they'd make my thumbnails. I hate making thumbnails. I'm so bad at it.
Well, they said something that I thought was a bit of a revelation, and they're like, everybody thinks you need to make videos and then good videos and then just do a thumbnail and a title, and they're like, no, work from the thumbnail and the title almost backwards, which I have a hard time with, but I can kind of see what they're talking about. If you want your video to get recognized, you almost do have to sort of play that game just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm never gonna shit on anybody for playing the YouTube game.
No.
Double D, more AV Club questions. Maybe they're trying to send emails that you put out. Remember you put your email address in there or something? We're trying to send emails and it just won't show up.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I can't help you with stuff like that. Then or Jeff Hatch. I'm not sure. I think instead of like a good thumbnail or a title, you need a good hype man, like Flavor Flav. Like that would solve a lot of problems.
He shows up in our conversations quite a bit.
Because he's a genius. He's the best at what he does.
I just put it one more time, just straight in the YouTube chat. So that's all I can say is, I mean, I have gotten emails from people in the past when they've won like giveaways and that. So I know it.
I tell you, a couple of my favorite characters in the past, I developed. I saw a picture, like that's going to be my next character.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, then I figured out, okay, what class is this person, and come up with the name, and that's
nothing wrong with that in my opinion.
I enjoy that very much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I know you guys talked about like AI and its effect. I think you said that AI will never fully be your DM. I tend to agree. I think there'd be too many glitches. I do subscribe to sort of a managed AI where, maybe the DM is just kind of a caretaker who's always kind of putting in prompts and maybe choosing from the best of certain options. Do you ever see something like that, or do you see something different?
I don't know. I'm not too bothered about AI really. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I
think it's actually a tool. I think it can be a pretty decent tool at times.
I'm not certain that it's going to replace actual DMs. In fact, I don't think it will. I don't think it'll replace most DMs. I think it'll replace DMs in groups where nobody wants to DM. But in most groups, no. I think most people want a human DM. I mean,
I would.
Social interaction is part of the game.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think most people want to play with a AI DM.
No, I mean that would
like
be
even super casual players that are just getting into D&D. I don't think they want a AI DM.
Ultra American TTRPG are good to see you over here. Usually see you on Twitter or X. I mean, always love hearing what you both have to say. Been watching Double D since the Connie vid. Ooh, you go way back, my friend. And Harmony is always posting great takes on X. Keep it up. Yes, indeed.
That's disappointing. I thought that was for me and Rogan. I thought that they liked what we had to say.
Well, thank you.
Sorry. How do you what caused you to start a channel?
Gosh, I had so much to say. I mean, sometimes I just post tweets and people are like, "Oh, so do you mean this?" And it's like, "No, that's not quite what I mean." And it's just a longer format where I can say everything I want to say, and people listen. People don't read, but people listen. So it's nice to be able to get my thoughts out there in a way where I can just kind of go through everything at my own pace and not have to. I'm not limited to 260 characters. I mean, more people would read that than a Substack.
You should live stream yourself going to Wawa.
Ironcaster says, "Hi, Harmony. Good to see you, Ironcaster."
Live stream Wawa visit. Oh god,
why not?
Nobody would watch that. No one would watch it.
I would. I've never been to Wawa.
No. You'd be surprised.
I am so curious about
After
Wawa.
Double D tried to wrangle the conversation back to whatever, the chat was still blowing up about Wawa.
We can
and
go back
Starbucks.
to it now. More or less, I'm done with all my finer
I'm
points.
telling you, Wawa was the star tonight.
Harmony, I fired up from my phone a stream. I was just running the hill at the local park, literally just exercising, and I'm like, oh, nobody's gonna watch this, and it was like one of my better watched like live streams in like the last couple months. So
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, Harmony, I do feel a need to listen to you for a while, truly understand your position. Twitter isn't enough. There's somebody who
How
likes
many characters do you get on Twitter?
260, I think.
Well, it's 260 before they have to click a box because you can post more. But if you're just kind of like perusing, it's 260. That used to be the hard limit. Now it's a soft limit.
And to that guy that says vocal fry is a character flaw, I cannot help it. I talk so much because I run games and I do so much that I get vocal fry. It happens. Yeah.
Oh, it happens to all of us. What are your goals for your channel?
I just want to be able to I want to have a bunch of 15-minute or so short video essays about what I think about certain subjects that have to do with RPGs. And I don't know if that, I guess it's a goal more about what I want to make on there. I want to be able to get all my thoughts out so that I can direct people to that if they want to misconstrue my tweets to mean something that I don't mean, I guess. I don't know. I think it's doing really well. I got like 1,000 subscribers in a month. That was crazy.
Do you think that sometimes maybe after you tweet something, so what you're saying is you like to make a 15-minute video essay explaining what you were kind of tweeting about so that people could understand it fully?
Not always, but there are definitely times where I tweet something and people are like, oh, Harmony of the Bro OSR thinks, never mind. That's the first example I came up with. I'm so sorry. But some people have this idea that I'm talking about them personally when I don't know who they are. And I wasn't.
You got right underneath Condor DM's skin, so
you must be doing something right.
I don't know what happened there. I don't want to say anything bad about him, to be honest, because I feel like he's probably going through some rough stuff, and I don't want to pile on to that.
You can tell that he is from his videos that he is.
Well,
he did, and he put it out there for everyone to really pick apart.
Well, just he's going through some rough stuff. That doesn't mean he's not a jackass, because
I think it takes. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say he was the same way before all that stuff happened. Go ahead. So go ahead. Arnie.
Well, I think it takes a lot for somebody to put that much out there. Like this man clearly works very hard on his YouTube channel, and because he puts out like 5 short videos a day or something. And
I think he throws a lot of spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks.
I must respectffully disagree with you.
Okay,
Arnie. He does not put
I
a
don't
lot of
watch
effort
him.
in.
I don't know.
He hits the he hits the play button, or the record button, I mean, and he just talks mostly about himself, but it's stuff he's talked, I understand there's always going to be repetition, but he's always the victim. He's always like being persecuted for who he is. And he never takes accountability for the fact that he starts a lot of this stuff. Like he went after me out of the blue. I didn't even know who the guy was. And they're like, yeah, Condor DM went after you. I'm like, who the fuck's Condor DM? Same experience I'm sure you had. Who's Condor DM? And then you watch it and you're like, it's so weird and full of so much vitriol. And but he gets about 30 views for his videos. So he just shits out like anything that's off the top of his head. He doesn't do any scripting. By the way, there's nothing wrong with scripting a video. People might tell you like, oh, you need to go off the cuff. If you're that kind of a performer, you can. But if you're just rambling like he does, his channel's a stream. Yeah, it's a stream of consciousness, but it's an angry stream of consciousness. He's always victimized. He's always bitter, and he's out for it's the OSR and the Bro SR and everybody in between.
It was a pretty good day though, because I woke up to a message saying from somebody who I won't name saying, "Hey, Condor DM made a video about you. Don't worry about it. We all think you're cool. Nobody's mad at you. I hope you're okay." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is my first hate video." It was a big day.
First of many, probably. It comes with the territory.
Yeah, wait till you wake up tomorrow, hear about it after being with us hooligans.
Oh no.
You sort of have to separate. Being in this sphere, like, is it personal or is it just business? And most of the time you just chalk it up to business. But here's what I also say: there's nothing wrong with playing a little jujitsu and making some content out of it. So, don't ever feel bad. Don't ever think like, I'll just boost him or,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because, he seemed like he was in a rough place. I didn't want to boost the guy. And I didn't want to send hate his way, really. But,
well, everybody already hates him. So you're not going to send any more hate. But I do see what you're saying. You're being awfully nice and generous.
You're better for it.
People are going to say what they're going to say. Like, that's the price of being online.
Yeah, Patrick Demo points out, I remember this from his video on you. Talk shit, get hit. No, I don't think he meant that literally, but it's still unseemly, I guess I would say, when you're the focus of your videos, a woman. He needs a bit of his own medicine. Don't feel pity for him. He gets what he gives. Well, that's what I'll pick up the slack for Harmony. How's that? Because I have no problem.
I do have a question for Harmony. When you are a character and not the DM, what type of character do you like to play?
Good question.
That's an interesting question. I cycle through a bunch of different character types. I'm definitely the player who doesn't mind eating the strange object we found or pressing the button, pulling the lever. If there's like, oh, there's a door and it smells weird, then my character's probably going to lick it. I mean, I definitely don't mind if I die. I want something interesting to happen. I definitely I'll play different like character classes, but I definitely like to play kind of naive idiots sometimes.
I
Just
played
to
a
keep things moving.
naive character once. I had a barbarian, and my inspiration was actually Adam Sandler. It was Grendel.
Yes.
And I just enjoyed playing him because I usually play a rogue, and then I have played a bard, which Double D liked, but I personally didn't like that much. I've played an assassin before, and I have played the barbarian. And when I rank my characters in my head, which ones were my favorite to play, my three favorite were Kez, Calvin, and Isaac. Not in that particular order, but those three. And then they were all rogues, and Isaac was an assassin. But then Grendel's fourth.
Yeah.
Like his situation with the gold and
the money and stuff like that.
Yeah, because what did it create snakes?
It's something to do with snakes. Yeah. So I left all my gold everywhere I would get it because I just was afraid it would turn into a snake.
I forgot about that.
So I don't know. So I do find like inspiration, and then I just roll with it that way.
That's sort of the kind of when I play, I kind of like that kind of character too, where you can kind of turn your brain off a little. I don't know, maybe it's endemic with DMs, kind of like your brain's always on and doing, so many calculations when you're DMing. Sometimes when you're on the other side, it's kind of nice just to kind of, I'll swing a sword or, I'll lick the doorknob? Or
yeah.
whatever.
So when Harmony mentioned that lick the doorknob and stuff, I immediately went to Grendel.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Nothing wrong with it.
Are you guys about to bring up the Florida doorknob licker?
No, but you can.
No, never mind. We have to talk about the Florida doorknob
well, that's
licker.
a YouTube waiting to happen.
Never heard about that. Really interested now.
I usually rely on Crazy Mouse for stories like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you got to watch this video.
Florida man licks the doorknob. What?
Yeah, I think we had like a serial doorknob licker.
Oh boy.
Oh jeez.
Nothing like that happens in Pennsylvania. Ooh.
Better than a serial chair sniffer, I guess. I don't know. Dan Vince, who are they talking about? Well,
here we go. Harmony.
Right now we're just freestyling, my friend. Snake O'Shawn, good friend, $5. Thank you, sir. Harmony, have you tried any of the RPGs by Free League, like Dragonbane, Vazen, The One Thing, Mutant Year Zero? Love Free League. Tales from the Loop, good game too.
I have not.
If you ever have a chance, they're good. I know you like sci-fi. Did you like the Alien films? Do you like that franchise?
Yeah, I do.
They make a very good Alien game, and they have a it's called stress dice mechanic, where you can kind of keep adding dice to your pool, which may help you, but if you roll one, essentially like a 1 on the die 6, it screws everything up and you panic, and then other people might start panicking. It's a really fun kind of like 1 or 2 shot system. So if you ever get a chance to play in something like that, I highly recommend it, or run it if you're so desire.
I mean, it sounds fun. I like dice pool systems for sure.
Yeah, with them it works.
I will say next on my to play list, that the one I've been dying to play right now because I've been reading the rule books, is Classic Traveler. But just because I've never really played many sci-fi RPGs, but I love reading sci-fi. So I don't know. I think
we started last year. It's one of the games I don't run. So our guy in our group, Captain Stern, runs that. It's good. I think you do need to sort of, and I don't think someone like you would have a problem with this. Just kind of keep the universe open instead of keeping the world open. Now you have to keep kind of like the universe open and be like, okay, where do you guys want to go? The good thing is there has been so much written about Traveler. You could pick a planet, and the DM could say, "All right, guys, give me 5 minutes." You could literally do some research on it, and then boom.
There's just a lot of amazing resources.
Yeah. Travis wants to know what your favorite race in Star Control 2 is.
So it's easy to say the Ors, and anyone who's played knows why. But I'm gonna say the Slylandro. They made or they bought a bunch of probes that go out into the galaxy, and when you meet the probes are like, "We come in peace," and they seem all cool, but then they attack you no matter what.
That sounds like that TV show V.
Yeah, it's because
Do
the
you remember
Slylandro
V?
tried to program them and they messed up the programming. I haven't seen it.
It was like an aliens. They came
in peace.
They came in peace. They were really lizard people and like snake in human skin. They came in peace, and then their plan was to attack the world.
Yeah, it was like one of those, like, it was in the mid 80s. It was like one of those like mini-series events. But then I think they redid it.
They did redo it for only 2 seasons, or maybe like 20 episodes. Then it got kind of canceled. But
when was that? Like 12?
Right around there. Yeah, that sounds about right.
The big thing with them was they used to show them like eating mice. So, they do the old trick where they'd film them like this, and then they'd have like a mouse, and they'd be like, so you'd like watch them.
Freddy Krueger, the actor was there.
Yeah, Robert Englund was in
Willie.
it. Yeah, before he was, I think that was before he was Freddy, right?
Travis's, his is, I don't know how to pronounce
Spathy. No, it's the Spathy. Yeah, they're a race of cowards. Like the first time you meet them, they immediately say, "All right, since I know you're going to torture me, the coordinates to my home planet are this," and they just tell you everything right off the bat. It's really funny.
Yeah, Jeff Hatch says Mark Singer. He was also in that show. The Beastmaster himself. Yep.
Yeah, the Spathy are
Beastmaster was
good
a star.
favorites.
All right, maybe we can do one last thing here.
Oh wow,
Before we
it's
let
been
you
like
go.
it's been almost 2 hours. How? Okay.
Sorry to keep you.
Take that as a compliment.
Well, I'm glad you're having fun with it.
Yeah, we'll let you go pretty quick here. But yeah, I know you had some thoughts on the D&D art, the cover art.
Did I?
I thought when you talked to Dungeons and Discourse, you said it might be AI art. Which
No, I don't think it is. I think I was wrong there. I didn't want to make any definitive statements because I wasn't sure, but I don't think it's AI.
I don't either. Although I can see why people think it might be based on their history and a couple of oddities. The artist is pretty well known, so he might be using it for inspiration. But I don't think he's using AI. So here's more are like dribbling out. So this is Mike Pape. I'm sure a nice artist. I just don't agree with what he chooses to paint. Sharing the first of my illustrations in the new player's handbook, the species entry for dwarves. So it says everything I don't like about 5th edition, and kind of like you said earlier, Harmony, the people that have been brought in. It's like, here you have dwarves. No, it's not Tolkien. And I understand, all right, maybe it's a little tired, but good Lord, do we need dwarves in Birkenstocks delivering cookies and muffins?
Ryan wants to know, are the dwarves making
Yes,
cookies?
Ryan. Yeah, that you can see for yourself there. He's wearing Birkenstocks. You're around molten metal all day. Would you wear Birkenstocks?
They look so Disney.
Yes,
that's a good
And-
word.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to piss on him as artists, because it's like, I understand there is a place for this kind of art, but man, in my respectful opinion, it's not in a D&D book. This just does not scream to me like, hey, I want to.
That looks like a children's book.
So
Yeah.
Something I saw on Twitter about this was the 2 dwarves where you can see their arm tattoos. They have each other's beard tattooed, and I don't know if they're like a couple or something. But
This
just
guy and
can
this
you
guy?
imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have
yeah.
each other's beard tattooed on them. Because I guess they're like a couple or something.
Well, look at him smiling as he's bringing the cookies to his friend, and look at him looking over his shoulder with that knowing smile as well. Like, my cookies are on its way.
I mean, you can almost envision him pinching the ass as he goes by. By the way, where's he going to go? Like they are literally hammering hot metal
on an anvil.
Yeah. Here's your cookies.
Yeah, but can you
No.
imagine getting your beard done in that style? And then your boyfriend gets a tattoo of your beard in that style on his arm. And then you have to do it every single day.
Yes,
the same way to match that tattoo.
You're locked crazy.
That's what kills me.
Chris Miller, $10. Hey guys, sorry I missed the stream. Have a lot of respect for Harmony. I'll have to watch later. Yeah, see you at VentureCon. Yeah, we called that out, Chris. Yeah, I made the general call for VentureCon. We're trying to drag Harmony there. That might not happen. She is a ways away, not within driving distance.
No.
But yeah, we are gonna love seeing you there.
Harmony,
me,
I
Rogan,
have
and my wife.
a question. You earlier, you mentioned that you don't like traveling. Are you going to Gen Con this year? Or are you done
I
with
haven't
Gen
been
Con?
to Gen Con since I moved to Florida, so probably not.
Mhm.
I mean, it's possible if I end up that way. If somebody else pays for my Gen Con ticket, my plane ticket, my hotel room, then I will go. However, if that does not happen, I'm not going because I don't really want to spend money on it.
Are there any cons around you that you would go to? Like, what would be your circle of radius that you would go to a con?
I mean, honestly, it's like a 4-hour drive to get out of Florida from where I am. So I'm mostly like Florida, Georgia area at this point because I just don't like traveling that much. However, I'm going to at some point. I might make it to Gen Con this year, probably not this year, but maybe next year. I've been to these before. I tend to go a little bit less now just because I end up getting sick from them every time, which sucks. But
con crud.
Yeah, I end up with con crud every year. Do I go to
Where's
Dragon
Con?
I believe
Atlanta.
that one is in Florida. No, is it Atlanta?
Oh, is it?
Okay, there was one in
Harmony's
Florida.
John Osborne's asking, do you go to Dragon Con? But he's not
I
saying where
don't.
it is.
Yeah, I don't go to that one.
Yeah,
I don't go
confirm
to any
that, too.
cons anymore.
Oh,
I
it is-
used to be all about cons. I haven't really been to one in about 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of the way the industry has kind of gone, it has kind of sapped all the enthusiasm. My wife really likes going to Gen Con, mostly for the board games. And, you know, you got to keep the missus happy. So,
Chris Miller's asking if you go to MegaCon. I'm not sure where that one is. Dragon
I
Con,
don't
we have figured
remember.
out, is in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And where's MegaCon?
It must be
I-
Florida, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. I may end up going to one or two. It might actually be cool to go now that like there is a not insignificant contingent of people that would know who I am. So that would be cool because I've never like had I don't know, I've never had that happen before. So that might be neat, but I don't really do cons for the most part.
I'm kind of hoping nobody recognizes me at Gen
Oh,
Con.
really?
It's out
Look,
of
I want it to
the-
happen once. I want it to happen once so that I can feel like a celebrity. but- yeah, but if it happens more than once, it just gets annoying. So
Harmony, I know what you mean because I was at the bank. I told Double D this, and I actually probably told this story on air. I was at the bank, and some lady's like, "Your voice is really familiar to me." She said, "Are you a coach of any kind?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. My daughter plays volleyball, and my other daughter, plays soccer." She's like, "No, I've just heard you like a lot." And I'm thinking, well.
Wednesday nights?
I am an international celebrity heard around the world.
Wednesday nights,
That
7
could be
p.m.
it. Yeah, that could be it.
Well, they're saying MegaCon is in Orlando. There you go. You might have a hometown
Okay.
one you can pop into
yeah,
there and
maybe.
be
I
a
might.
celebrity, hometown
I
celebrity.
might. I don't know. I just want to be recognized one time. That's it. Never again.
I tell you
One
what,
time.
you make that live
The way it
stream go
works.
into the Wawa, the clerk's gonna know who you are. There you go.
Oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, here's some more. I don't know. This is just kind of, to me, this is just kind of like the art. I mean, this is the kind of art you're going to see in the book, but it doesn't really inspire me.
It's not inspiring.
Inspiring. It's all women up front. It's like
It's
all
too
right,
gray,
come on, we
or
get
not
it.
gray, beige.
Yeah, the bottom portion. It's like orange and beige. The colors are.
The one with the dwarves was, I mean, the illustration was nice, but for what it's supposed to be for, in the book, most of the art should provide or promote or provoke that feeling that, that I'm getting ready for an adventure, or I'm about, I'm
For
just
sure.
got my ass whooped in a battle or whatever. I'm about to spend all my loot. That's the kind of thing. And this is a more of a wholesome kind of situation going on. I'd like, hey, the beard tattoos and the smiles, and
I mean, just look at
that's
his
sweet,
look at his face. The guy bringing he's like,
that's cool.
I mean, he's just, I brought cookies. I mean, it's fine, but that's not fucking D&D.
Read into it a little bit more. The guy that he's walking by with the blue shirt on is angry that he's walking by him without dropping off any cookies. Look at that look he's giving.
It's
him.
Uncle.
I ordered these cookies a while ago. Where's mine?
Yeah, Uncle Brother's like, get the fuck out
What
of
do
here.
I got to do? Put a beard tattoo on my arm to get some cookies around here?
It's probably the only serious one there. Everybody else
Something-
just thinks it's a party festival.
Something I noticed that's the same in both of those pictures is they seem to be using the orange-blue color dichotomy that was on the front of every single early 2000s DVD.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know who I'm talking about? Like
Oh, yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. I mean, they're complementary colors, of course. So I can see why he's using them, but I don't know. To me, that's secondary. Might have been a little overused. It's the overall vibe. I don't even want to say the composition. The composition is fine, but it's just the overall vibe of who these people are. It's not D&D.
I work in a shop. There's no way I'm going to bring cookies out in the shop. I help build locomotives. Come on.
Exactly, Surly. It's everything's bleeds together and too busy. That's more for the one I just showed. This one is a little cleaner, but to me it's no better.
$2 million from Jeff.
Ooh, Jeff from Denkar, $2 Canadian. Thank you, sir. Harmony. What do you feel is the best art in D&D? Do you have any favorite pieces, favorite artists, anything like that? Or just...
So I'm a rules person. I'm a fairly analytical person, and this is kind of my weakness. Is I'm fairly bad at looking at art and having like a critical eye on it. There were some pieces in third edition that I really enjoyed. One that comes to mind is there's this module, Red Hand of Doom, that has this picture. Oh, yeah. All right. So, the black dragon in the swamp, right? There is this art piece in the third edition module, Red Hand of Doom, where this black dragon is coming out of the swamp and he's just absolutely eviscerating this guy, right? You can see his spine as the guy's like melting away. I always loved that one.
Yeah. There's a piece you'd like in Birthright. It's for the Voss. Keep talking. I'm gonna grab it here for a second.
No.
Boys, girls.
I kind of want to grab the Red Hand of Doom one because it's so
one
good.
Where it's weird that you're mentioning a piece of art that Double D ran for us. He did a video not too long ago about his top 20 favorite art pieces, which was a good video to watch because it made me think, and I'm just a total casual gamer, but some of the pieces that he mentioned in his video, I don't read all the modules and I don't read all of them, but so many of the pictures that he showed were ones that I 100% remember.
Yeah. A Red Hand of Doom had a few that I really liked.
This is it's a Birthright. It's one of the people's books. There's like basically like 4 races essentially. They're all human races, but look at the bottom here, and this kind of showed me like, oh man. When I got this, I'm like, this is why I love Birthright. Look at the bottom.
The glare's kind of on it.
Yeah, I know.
I can't see that.
Can you see it now?
There's a glare like right in the middle.
Oh, there we go.
Kind of.
It might be small. I think you'll get to see it better in the replay, but it's like you have this barbarian Voss. And he's got this poor Anurian by the throat. And this guy is dead. And you can see the terror in that Anurian's eyes. Like he is about to die. And it's like, that was just regular old art back in, well, that was second edition. That's mid 90s. But it's like, holy shit, they would never put something like that. Somebody in their last moments, like a human killing another human. And that, by the way, that barbarian looked like he was posing for a picture while he was doing it. Just beautiful. Yeah. Reziel says he loves Brahms artwork for 2E Dark Sun. Absolutely. Modern Wizard. This is marvelous. Mr. Bean, $9.99. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Modern Wizards of the Coast art needs to be more death metal and less Care Bears. Yes.
Yeah, that's something they shy away from now, is showing a lot of gore and fear in their art. Like they'll have big villains like Vecna or whoever, but they won't show them just doing villainous things.
Yeah.
They'll show them in dark greens and purples to show they're evil, but there's just not art of people like dying, getting their limbs ripped off, and undergoing horrific situations like there was in the old editions.
In a way, it's almost worse than like the Satanic Panic, because I mean, back then they had to skirt like names more or less, like the the demons and devils became the Tanari and Batazu. In the same respect, they weren't afraid to show what demons and devils did, even under their new names. They weren't afraid to show how evil they were. They weren't afraid to show, pieces like I just did. But it's like nowadays they really do want to sand down all those hard edges and make it more Care Bears, as he just said.
Oh,
It's like
definitely.
1 second away from a festival.
Yeah, it's every one of these pictures. It's like you can almost imagine off screen. Festival time.
Yeah, definitely. It's with all the villains too. Like the villains are supposed to look cool and interesting now, but they're not supposed to look that evil. The only reason the villains look evil is the color palettes, really. And maybe they'll have like some skulls on them, but you're not going to see them like disintegrating someone or I don't know. The closest thing they'll show is skeletons, but like long dead skeletons. So you don't have to think about the fact that they were human once.
Well, this goes back to what I read earlier about the 50th anniversary. And like, can you believe that they talked about slavery in terms of, economic transactions? Well, what the hell kind of a world are you running? That's the way it would be if you're going to have slavery in your world. That's exactly what it would be. Are you playing a fantasy medieval type game? Slavery could be on the table.
Oh, certainly. It's on the table in my games.
Hey, Black Lodge, dude should be jacked, chick should be hot. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if you've been here the whole time. We shouted you out earlier, boys, and how you guys kind of know how to be successful YouTubers. So glad you were able to find your way into the stream tonight. Calvaloni, Jessica Rabbit said she's just drawn that way. Yeah. Great movie.
I never saw it.
Oh, really?
I never saw Roger Rabbit. No.
Oh, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was one of the great movies of was it 90s? I feel like it was 90s.
80s. Late
80s. Oh, okay.
Yeah, late
it's
80s.
older than me then.
Yep.
Christopher Lloyd, Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins, yeah. Bob Hoskins was in it. Without like doxing yourself, can you say like what you like, kind of like what you do for a living, like sort of, or are you like you said you were analytical, right?
Yeah, no, I prefer not to say.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I do have a day job, but I prefer to
I
keep.
figured.
So I keep stuff about my job and relationships offline for the most part.
Yeah,
but
very smart.
Yeah.
Very smart. Chris Miller, $10. Modern Wizards of the Coast employees only have Ren fairs as a frame of reference. I grew up on Holy Diver. We are not the same. Yes, this is true. You don't even need to have been born back then. You just kind of need to have that spirit, I guess, which I think a lot of people do. I think you probably do, Harmony. I mean,
Roland Bones is outing you, Harmony. You work for the State Department.
Oh, there
Maybe.
you go.
If she told us, she'd have to kill us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's nothing that secret. It's just that there are people out there who don't like what you have to
Keep
say
it private.
sometimes and who like to ruin your
Well-
life by going after your relationships and your work. So those are things that I don't talk about.
Yeah, and I got to say, being a woman in this space, I mean, look, it's just a fact. it's going to be a little different for you, and I think you're wise in that regard.
Even men in the
It's
space
still-
need to be careful.
I was just going to say, man or
Yeah.
woman, I think it's a good idea just to
Yeah.
keep some stuff private.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I know men in the space whose wives have been contacted about things that they've said, like on Twitter.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we try not to dox ourselves too much. I'm sure people can put together roughly where we're at and all that stuff, but I'm not going to help them. Kind of like you,
I mean,
you know, you're.
People probably know, like people can probably find where I live because I've definitely said I live in Orlando and I live near a Wawa. So
And there's only one.
no, there are many
I
Wawas.
was
There's so many Wawas in Orlando that I've started to measure distance in Wawometers. It's like the distance between two Wawas.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know if this is insensitive, but I don't think you would take it that way. Do you think like being a woman kind of in a non-traditional woman space has kind of helped you and your reception? Because I think it did for like Shadow Dark. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying it's nothing to be ashamed of, but I think it sort of helped Kelsey, you know, maybe get a little bit more attention on her game. Now it had to be a pretty good game to begin with, but yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, Kelsey seems like one of the coolest people on the internet. Like I have seen a bunch of her stuff and I have nothing ever bad to say about Kelsey. She seems awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, woman on the internet is a double-edged sword. I think I get more attention because I'm a woman. I don't think there's any denying that. But I also think that sometimes that's not a good thing. I've been treated fairly badly by some people because of that. And I don't really want to say names. I don't want to cause trouble here. But it is a double-edged sword. There are people who want to say things about my appearance, about things like that, when I don't necessarily want that sort of thing. Good and bad, by the way. It's not all good things. So
yeah. For sure.
It's really a double-edged sword. There's like I feel that I'm probably subject to more criticism than men are to a degree, but I also get more attention in general. So it's not all good, but a lot of it is good. I think it has helped my voice carry for certain. It has gotten me some unwanted attention, but I mean that's just how it is. And I try to I try to handle it well. Like I don't go on shows like and show cleavage and stuff. I don't try to promote any sort of OnlyFans, anything like that. So I try not to leverage it to the best of my ability, but when it comes down to it, I get on camera and I have a female voice. I mean, there's no hiding it. I'm not trying to hide it from anyone, but it is what it is. I don't know that it's strictly helped me.
Well, I think look, I think there's a difference between you and Ginny D, at least from our point of view. Now, Ginny D is more popular because she does some of the things that you probably won't do. But I think people, if you looked at both of you, I think people would definitely say you should be taken way more seriously because you've obviously put a lot of thought into your games, into your philosophy, into your channel, stuff like that. So to me, you just kind of seem like, well, you're just kind of another voice in this space who happens to be a woman. You know, like you said, you can't deny the fact. I was also thinking along the lines of like, you gotta, like, people probably, you get both extremes. You get people who sort of patronize you almost, and I don't expect you to comment on this, but like Jeffro, I thought some of his tone and tenor was borderline. I don't know. I don't know what you'd call it, demeaning or patronizing. But I'm sure. Go ahead.
Do you want me to comment on that?
Go ahead if you wish. Yeah. That's just my opinion. I'm sure you certainly don't have to agree.
Yeah, I think it was. I think he was quite patronizing on the show. I think there's more to it though. There's definitely more to that than meets the eye. I think that he played that show in a way that I didn't know what to think. It was a weird experience. I was like, I've never talked
You
to this
handled it
person
well.
before he was going on. I definitely did feel patronized, somewhat insulted, flattered at some points. It was a bizarre experience. But at the end of the day, I think he played it in a very particular way that made it, gosh, he managed to make me get through that interview and make me look good to both his friends and his haters. And I don't know how deliberate that was. I'm not sure if he did that on purpose, but
I was just gonna say that. Do you think it was an act? That's the video we kind of EFAP'd a little bit, correct?
We did.
Yeah. I tend to think so. I don't know him I don't know him very well, so I don't want to like speak for who he is. But I tend to think that he does what a lot of us do when we put ourselves online, which is take the weird parts of our personality and dial them up to 11. So in some sense, it's an exaggeration of who it probably really is kind of my take on it. But I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, we're in this sphere. We're all slightly more cartoonish versions of ourselves. You know, I try not to be, but you know, I know there's a little of that even here.
Who is this?
Half of my videos are driving around the roads where I live. I could not care less if the whiny weebs know where I live. You thinking it's Garibay?
Who is that?
You thinking it's Garibay?
I don't know.
It's not Garibay. Getting back to what you're saying. Yeah, I thought you handled that interview remarkably well. Because there were undeniable points. I mean, I was trying to soft sell it, but there were undeniable points where he was kind of condescending to you, and you just took it in stride. And I think in a way he felt he had to do that, because if he felt he was being too soft or overly complimentary to you, he would have caught hell from the boys, which is so stupid. It's such a stupid thing.
So I think it was a weird line to walk for him, because he didn't want to simp. If he said anything even remotely simpy, I'm pretty sure that like the bros would have never let him forget it, which it is what it is. But also on top of that, he couldn't be too nice, but he also didn't want to be too mean, because I don't know. He made it fairly clear that he respected what I was doing, and I mean.
Yeah, he seemed to dial it back. Like he would go up to a certain point and then he'd dial it back, and then I'd be like, damn, it's like a yo-yo.
I mean, it was a very bizarre experience for me. I haven't had another interview or talk with anybody since then that was even remotely that experience. But like, I've heard a lot of people saying that it was a really bad decision for me to talk to him or to have him on my channel.
No. It was.
At the end of the day, swing dancing was the winner.
Yeah, swing dancing was the winner. No, you did fine. You came out smelling like a rose.
Oh, I did. It was a wonderful decision. It was the best decision I made with my channel. You know why?
Well, until today.
Go ahead, put that back up there.
Oh gosh.
That Mercurius super chat. Yep. Hold on 1 second here. Mercurius, $5 Australian. Good to see you, my friend. At the end of the day, swing dancing was the winner. Oh, you already read that. That's why.
That's why I took it down.
That's why Crazy Mouse always wins.
2 for 1 special.
Always wins. Yes. Just from now on, just shut the F up, Double D. Nope. I got this.
I'll do that on my own channel.
Thank you, Mercurius. Yeah, I mean, I think people do this wild swing between. I would call it almost negging. I'm sure you know what that is. They almost like to neg or simp. And then I don't know. It's just it's got to be hard, I'm sure, for someone like you who just kind of wants to get their own view out into the world. And I don't know. I think you're doing a good job of it. So
I just like talking to different people.
He reminded me of in the movie The Breakfast Club. He reminded me of minus the swing dancing, but he reminded me of Bender. The way that he
Judd
was
Nelson.
Talking to Claire, who was played by Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, negging.
Like just like negging.
Yeah.
For attention, to hide shit that was going on in his own life. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it. I'm not a therapist. I'm a dasher, but like, that's what I got. I remember that video very well. And I just remember like, he just reminded me of John Bender from The Breakfast Club.
I think it's an apt comparison. Yeah, that's what he was doing. I mean, a little bit of that. Now his reason for doing it, could have been,
I don't know,
many things, right? Jeffro got some Skibbity, Ohio Riz.
That is actually pronounced Skibbity, Ohio Riz.
Skibbity, some
Boomer.
Skibbity, Ohio Riz. Chris Miller, thank you, buddy.
Chris Miller he came late, but man, he brought the goods.
Dang.
He came in heavy.
Yeah.
As Uncle Junior said.
would say, exactly.
I don't even know what he was saying.
Travis, I did watch the Brat Pack documentary. That's when I went off on my Hulu subscriber or associate the other day when I read the calendar wrong. But yes, I did watch the Brat Pack documentary.
Yeah, you wanted it a day early, and they're like,
So I was like,
the show has not even dropped yet.
Hasn't even aired yet, my man.
Cool your jets. Off-grid Gognard, $2 Canadian. Please upload your content on audio podcast apps.
Someone else mentioned that earlier, Double D. I was going to talk to you about that after the show when we wrap it up. People want us to do an audio, it's like podcast.
It's
maybe
doable.
An app or something. Yeah,
it's doable. I mean, I could just do the MP3 files of some of the past shows. I have quite a back catalog now. That would take some time. Might hire somebody to do
Quit that day job.
Yeah, not yet.
Take the leap.
Well, Harmony, we've kept you a long time. You've been a good sport.
We're glad that you're in our time zone. Last week's guest was halfway around the world.
He was in Corsica.
Yeah, and he was on until 5 a.m. his time.
Oh no.
He was game.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was good.
Good. You're more than welcome to come back on any other time, and I would love to be a guest if you ever want me on yours. Although I don't know why anybody would want to see me on yours.
Oh, lovely.
But
yeah, I'll ask you at some point. I'm doing the strategy. Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, I could have you on at some point. We'll see.
Don't feel obligated. There are
I
plenty
won't.
of more
Don't worry.
more
Don't
interesting
worry.
people
I
than me
won't.
out there. Trust me.
Hey, if I didn't want you on, you know what I'd say? I'd say no. I'm not afraid to say no.
There you go. That's why we like you. James Gang, $5. Jeffro is a saint compared to me. I'm the oh yeah. There we go. DM James is the ist and phobe monster of Orlando.
Oh hey.
Orlando. DM James. You go. DM James is a good dude. So if you ever, that's it. You should have. I don't know if you've ever seen his channel, but
I have. You know
hang out
why?
there.
Because he did a video about me. Or he said my name in a video, and I'm really vain. And if someone does a
We all
video
are.
about me, I'm gonna watch it.
We all are.
Everybody, at the end of tonight, when we're wrapping it up, go over and like and subscribe to Harmony's channel as well.
Yeah. Yeah, easy to find.
It's super easy to find. Just type it right in on
Harmony
the
Ginger.
right
Yeah.
on YouTube in the search icon. It'll show right up.
And it really is good content.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I liked your audio sort of only
Yeah, that one I
video
made
that you
real
did.
quick. Oh,
I
really?
like that one.
Okay. I don't know. I'm still playing with formats, trying to figure out what works. I have something that I'm gonna try and get out by tomorrow, but we'll see. Yeah,
You could tell
I'm
you put a
still
lot of
working
effort into it. You know, you spoke clearly, you spoke straight. There weren't any ahs, or anything like that. You know, as a fellow YouTuber, when I see something like that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice and rehearsed or scripted or whatever, however you do it. I'm like, that's good content.
It took her 100 takes to get this 5-minute video with it.
Oh yeah,
perfection.
I've been there, done that. Mercurius, $5. She has to look up her appointment book. Double D. Okay.
I have interviews booked out to the end of July right now. So
Is that your YouTube handle right
yes,
there?
yes,
Okay.
it is.
There you go. Cool. Yep. There it is, guys.
Everybody.
No excuse. I'm sure a lot of you already are subscribed, but absolutely, she's already over 1,000, already monetized. So
No, I'm not monetized yet.
Oh, you're not?
I'm close.
Are you-
I'm close, but not yet. I'll get
should
there.
be. You have 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I don't have the watch hours yet, but
they're coming.
Oh,
yeah, they're
okay.
coming.
Yeah.
I'm not worried
yep,
about it. I'll
yep.
get there.
Guys, go over there and watch. At least watch the Jeffro stream. that'll that'll help. Watch all her stuff because her latest video is actually quite good. James Gang, another $5. She was interviewing Dungeons and Discourse. Yep, we talked about that. Who as a 30K player I despise, but it's not my place to tell you whom to interview. Well, at least it's just based on what army or what era they're playing in Warhammer. But I thought that Dungeons and Discourse was a good guest. Interesting person. I think she was good. Don't ever be afraid to talk to people like that. Who cares what people think?
I mean,
Harmony mentioned earlier, sometimes just bringing together two people who don't have the same point of view is good. It's how we learn and how we grow.
I mean, I'll talk to whoever. And I mean, look, if I was worried about pushback for guests, if I was worried about people telling me who to talk to, I wouldn't have opened with Jeffro.
Well, the thing is that a lot of people don't understand this. And if you listen to people who are outside of YouTube, you're not going to have a very successful YouTube channel. It's like, we're in the entertainment business and that kind of stuff sells. So your interview with Jeffro, that, even though it had ups and downs, personally, it sold because it was entertaining. And at the end of the day, it didn't make you look bad. It actually made you look good. So
it was fun.
Yeah. You're in the entertainment business now, Toots, as they say. It's the one thing I had to realize, like, oh, you know what? You actually do have to start thinking about what these fine folks in the chat, kind of want a little bit of. So,
they'll tell us.
Yeah, they'll let you know for sure. But
I get pushback with. I've gotten pushback with a few guests, but like at the end of the day, I don't agree with Jeffro on everything. I don't agree with Discourse on everything. I just want to talk to them because I think they're interesting people because they're very much not like me. So, I don't know.
It's a way to do it.
It happens.
All right, let's leave it there. We're almost at 2.5, so we'll let you go. Head over to Wawa. Go get your your snack.
I will. I'm gonna live stream it, guys. No, we're not gonna. I shouldn't tease it. All right. They kick me out, I swear. But like, I hate when people live stream in public. It's so weird. No one wants to be in that video.
It's a little. I did it, but I was like alone. Like I was literally at a park by myself. So yeah, when you're with people, although I'll be foregoing that at Gen Con, but there's almost so many people that there's almost no people, if you know what I mean.
I'll wait till 3 a.m. and go to Wawa alone.
There you go. Yep.
3 a.m. Wawa. No one's here.
It's the ticket, as they say. All right. Harmony, thank you so much. We'll have to catch up with you again sometime in the near future. Best of luck.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
Endeavors. Yeah.
Thank you.
Love talking to you.
Thank you, Harmony.
All right. All right.
Very nice. Hope people go over and help out her channel.
Yeah, she needs the watch hours.
You can just open another browser, go to YouTube, and just click it. You don't even have to leave us. Just go do it. My goodness gracious.
You do that too often and YouTube does catch on. Like, wait a minute, why are there so many feeds coming from? Because I think you can get away with it like one extra like browser. But some people think like, I'll just open up 10 different tabs and I'll watch the same video. YouTube is on to you. More Gary Shandling references, Snake Oil Sean already.
Do you know what's weird is, you know how like the universe just like interconnects. So at the beginning of the show, we did not know what shows she watched. We've never met her. Rogue and I never met her. And I mentioned Lenny and Squiggy. She's watching Better Call Saul, who has Lenny in it.
Yes. Oh,
his father, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No,
his brother.
His brother.
Okay.
Chuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
James Gang. Whoops.
Oh, did I take it down?
Yep, that's
there
okay.
It is.
Yep. James Gang do videos while driving for Uber Eats, $2. I'm trying to get him to do that, James. He's got to get to a comfort level. He's talking about our dash gabbing.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get there at some point, maybe in the future.
James, he keeps asking.
But I do not want to cramp my man's style. He is giving up his Wednesday nights, both of these guys, for well over a year and a half.
6 degrees of Lenny. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, 6 degrees of Lenny.
I was going to ask her one question about Better Call Saul. She said she's in season 3. I don't know the season. I've watched the whole show through its entirety. I was going to ask her if Lalo has been introduced yet. Because one of the greatest characters in that Breaking Bad universe, so much so, and how smart Vince Gilligan was, he references Lalo in Breaking Bad when no one knows who he even is.
So he set it up.
He said it to Jesse
beforehand.
Pinkman, I think. He's like, did Lalo send you? And everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Harmony says no Lalo yet.
Okay,
just
there
wait.
you go.
You're in
Lalo's
for
coming.
You're in for a treat.
He's a phenomenal character.
Great character. Yes, great character.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
spoilers.
no spoilers.
In the chat.
Yeah,
she's
don't make her
yep.
leave the chat, please. Yes. All right. Let's see. Let's do 15 minutes, 20
We
minutes.
can.
Yeah, let's,
Talk,
we'll do a
Tac
little.
Tac says it's the favorite part of his show.
Yeah, we can't let Tac Tac down.
You reading this?
Damn.
Jiminy Christmas.
I'm honored. Our humble little
Well, thank you.
sort
Taking
of
off, yeah.
semi-interactive live play. All right, let's go over there. Those of you that aren't down with the live play, this is your chance to say adieu and enjoy the rest of your night. We love you. But for those of you hardcores who like a little O&R, a little kind of sort of Howardian, sort of I don't know, regular D&D style.
Man, I really thought that Driving in Dragons.
You thought
I
it
don't
was
know why
Garibay.
I thought it was Garibay.
It's not. He would be here unless it's an alt.
The only reason I thought that was I've never seen that name before.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I could be wrong.
I thought I
but
had.
like I would have noticed the double D in another form.
That's true.
why
You would have.
Yes,
I will.
You know,
give
maybe
that, yeah.
maybe he's been here. We're gonna remember I haven't been on every stream you've ever done.
Most
so
you've
it might have
been
been a
like
day I wasn't here.
90% of them. All right, guys. The rest of you who are checking out, we'll see you next week with more fun. And those
And
of you
after you're
that
done hanging up with us, swing on over, just click that button and subscribe to Harmony Ginger's channel.
Yep.
Let's help her out.
Yep.
Let's get her going.
All right.
Get those. Apparently, she needs to get more hours in.
Yep. So we got to watch. Let's do a little. James, $2. So how about that Baptism of Fire game? Maybe in the future. We'll see where this one takes us. See if we can't go into medieval Poland at some point. But right now we are living it up with the boys in the free city of.
When did we switch over from Dragonbane? I'd say maybe about 8 sessions. Right?
Yeah.
Would that be fair
Yeah.
to say?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Boys are in Port Prospera. Playing a little Dragon Slayer. Very, kind of light rules, old school.
No Greg Gillespie today.
Yeah, he's been busy. He's been busy with his stuff with his dad, but I did contact him, and he's doing okay. Hopefully we will maybe have him on the show sometime in the near future.
We got to get Venger on.
Cal says Driving in Dragons is legit. Sub him. All right, I'll make sure to do that. Remind me afterwards. Crazy Mouse.
Okay.
I'll subscribe to Driving in Dragons. I'm not sure I've heard of him.
Man, this table's making me nervous, Double D.
What's that?
That leg on that table is making me nervous.
What?
The leg on the table is making me nervous.
On the bottom there?
Yeah. It's like leaning.
I'm going to let my structural engineer look at it. What do you think, Rogan?
Yeah.
It's tilted in and
Yeah, one's going this way, one's coming.
yeah.
It ain't parallel.
Yeah, it's not parallel.
These two. Yeah, if you look at the bottom. One's over here, one's kind of like that.
Am I explaining this wrong? Like this
No.
is bent in. Okay. All right. Okay.
Well, we'll crawl underneath there when
After the
everything's done
show,
and
right?
tighten-
After the show, we
tighten
can
up the
fix
screw or
that.
two.
Yeah. That looks like just one bump and it's caving in.
Sorry, guys.
That was not a technical issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we may have a structural issue.
Don't call OSHA on us.
This is a $3,000 table, so we don't want to. It gets moved a lot, so
just loose screw.
Yeah. All right. So the last time, Rogan,
he's bricked up. That's for sure.
Yeah, you guys were in the we're in the dungeons trying to. You're working the kitchen. You're trying to get out, but one time Otto gets kind of caught sneaking around, gets chastised for it. Now you got chastised for it by Tharn, right?
That is correct.
All right, so
Yeah, there you
there
go.
he is.
Yep.
There he is.
Yep.
What do you think?
I like it.
That's Tharn. That's the thorn in your side.
I hate
That's the thorn in your side. Now that wasn't as you guys know with AI art, that wasn't the first. That wasn't the first shot at Tharn. Snake Oil Sean says nice. I'll show you my first attempt at Tharn.
Is that the one you sent me in a text message?
It is, yeah. I sent it to both of you.
Okay.
Show me Gary Busey as a cult leader in D&D.
You know, bricked up. Yes, I do know that. He is bricked up. Carmine, if you were with us last week and you know where we left off. Yes, Roland is bricked up.
Goddamn Christmas! There he is.
That is funny.
This one's probably a little more,
That's a lot better.
Yeah, a lot better. All right, so Roland, real quick.
Yes.
You were upstairs.
Yes.
With her.
Shazam.
Now, she is the mistress to an old man who somehow goes behind that door.
Yes.
Okay? You were cleaning up after hours, and you were able to sneak away. After serving food to them earlier on, you went up as she is alone in her chamber. You went in, and she's like, hey, I've been waiting for you.
What took you so long?
What took you so long?
Good night, Patty.
See ya, Patty.
Good night, Patty.
She throws her arms around you and gives you a deep, deep kiss.
Oh, yes.
You're into it, right?
I'm all in.
Full money?
All in.
All in.
Yep.
Okay.
Elbows deep, etc.
All right. Good. Because she is eager to do that. And boy, she is a piece of work. You've never met someone as wild and carefree as her. You know, you come from the northern lands. Girls are a little more
conservative.
Conservative, yeah. But she is very, very, like I said, she's a spitfire. So we will say you're done after, I don't know, we'll say about 15 minutes. It's been a while, right?
More like 2.
Hey, it was the best. It's the best 15 minutes of her life. No, you succeed. Bring
Yes.
it off. So you're kind of laying there, and she says, "What's your name?"
I'll tell her. I'm Roland.
She says, "I'm Soraya."
Soraya.
I'm Soraya Sis.
Soraya, that is a beautiful name.
He's like, "Yes, I'm mistress to that old fossil, Argath. But what can I do? It keeps me alive."
Ever think about changing your destiny?
She says, well, I invited you in, didn't I?
I think that changed both of our destiny.
She says, you know what would happen to me to me and you, if he were to come back? She looks at you and says, oh, don't worry. He'll be down there for a while.
Well, I guess that makes the time we spend together all that more important.
Indeed it does. She's like, I want to get out of here. She's like, but I want payment for my time here. She's like, do you know there's a huge treasure on the top floor of this tower?
Top floor?
Yes.
Well, good, because the bottom floor scares me.
Well, it should. But she said, where Argath works, he's the snake master.
Ah.
Down in his room. He thinks I don't know this. But there's a secret door, a secret passage that leads behind the walls of this very tower and goes all the way up.
Whoa. And there was treasure.
Yes.
And you certainly are deserving of some of that treasure, obviously.
She's like, I was able to get it out of him. You know, in between his pathetic bouts of trying to please me.
Well, I hope I did a much better job.
Great gold worm. Don't trust her. She says, maybe I'm just waiting for the right person to come along and grab that treasure and take me away.
I think Destiny smiled on both of us.
I'll tell you what. Are you here alone?
No.
You just joined, did you not?
Yes.
They haven't broken you yet.
No.
You have a friend here?
Yes.
What's his name?
How about we gain more trust for each other before I do that? Is that acceptable?
I just invited you into my chamber.
Yes.
I would be fed to Sestek if I were caught. What more trust is there? If you want your friend in on this, tell me his name.
I will. I'll tell the name. Otto.
I'll make sure that you're on after duty in the kitchens. Always now. The master of that kitchen, he fancies me. I can pull a few strings. I'm sure you won't mind if I have to show a little. And she kind of points to her cleavage and maybe give a kiss here and there. But I can get you.
Is that Tharn?
No. Talking about the kitchen master.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
all you need to do your duties. She says, I will there must be some way to let you know that it's safe. Of course, if you see Argath go into his room, he is usually there for hours.
Let's take care of something real quick. Snake Oil says I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but Cal saying is that Destiny's Child. No, that was Jamie Foxx and Kanye West who sang that song.
Ooh, yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
She says, I'll tell you what, I will put one drinking jug outside the door as if to be taken away. If it's out there, that means that it's safe to come in here.
All right.
We'll need access to Argath's room. I can get the key.
All right.
Are you afraid to shed blood?
No. No, I'm not.
Your friend?
No, he's not as well.
You're sure?
You should have seen him stick that pig on that boat.
Yeah, we've he's proven himself to me. I would die for him.
Very good. She says, get up now.
All right.
Get your clothes on. Act as if nothing's happened. Remember the signal.
Yes.
In public, I will look right past you.
Right.
But I will be thinking of the magnificent time I just had.
Those 15 minutes.
15 minutes in heaven, yes. We'll work on that.
Stamina.
There are potions. So she says, go now. We'll be in touch. She gives you a long kiss.
Oh, yes. I was going to grab that. Oh, yeah. And then I'll make the dash.
You have to go by that door again.
Yes. Same way. I'll stop right before I get to the door. Maybe peek in just a little bit and then dash by it real fast.
When you peek in, you hear a voice. From, around the center of the room. It carries. Come here. It's a voice that has weight.
I guess I would be thinking, is the voice to me? Is it spoken to me?
Step in.
That's to me. Shit. I will step in.
Okay. Like I said, there's braziers lighting in here, but it's mostly dark. You hear the voice. Come over here. You can see there's a lone figure, again, sitting Indian style.
I'll approach.
Okay.
But I am ready to swing if
Yeah.
things get shitty.
You get over and you see this person, long dark hair.
Oh. Yeah, he's got some menace to him.
He says, this is the second time you've looked in.
I apologize.
You are a penitent.
I am.
He stands up, very quickly. Says, what is your name?
Roland.
Do you wish to know the undying secrets of Set?
That's why I'm here. Forgive my curiosity, but yeah.
He looks at you, and his eyes are, fairly disturbing. And it's almost like, roll a die 20. Save versus spell. So you're going to want to roll, I believe, over, if I'm not mistaken.
Over wisdom?
You should have a save there.
Yeah, +0. Oh, 17. There it is.
There you go.
Yeah. So over 17?
17 or over.
That's an 8.
You seem sort of lost. The next thing you hear is him saying, now go. And he smiles at you. Back to your duties, penitent. You have almost no idea kind of what happened or how much time has passed.
I'll go.
Okay. Back down to the kitchens?
Yes.
Surly, who's Peter Steele?
Oh, yeah, typo negative.
Well, he comes back down. Now, I think you were just heading back to 5, right? The sleeping chambers?
Yes.
Otto, you were already there, right? Kind of working on those salad prongs.
Yep.
Consider that done. I mean, that just takes time, not real skill. So you have a couple now things that you could use if you had to.
Like
get
for little pick locks. Yep.
Yeah. You do see him come in much later, probably a good half hour or so. Maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
You guys are together?
I ask how it went.
Epic.
That's good.
No, I'm telling you, like, I've never, holy moly. Beautiful. Stunning. We have things to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the plan? What are you guys doing?
I think we won't talk about it tonight in front of
right.
the shared bunker. Maybe
Mhm.
tomorrow when we're cutting zucchini by ourselves or something like that,
Yep.
doing meal prep.
Mhm.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yep. All right. So let's just say, unless you're planning on going out that night or sneaking out, are you?
I do want to do that to his chair.
You want to sabotage it, huh?
Yeah, I want to cut the legs off and then balance the base on it, just so that when he sits on it, it just
collapses.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
hopefully in a meeting.
Yeah, I think you took a knife last time.
I took a
The
serrated knife. That is
yeah.
correct.
You want to get out and do that?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
if that could have been something that we were doing while for those 45 minutes that Roland was busy,
Well, let's wait because now pretty much everybody's asleep. That's probably when you'd want to do it.
That's when I'll go.
So go ahead and
before he does that, if I know he's gonna get up, I'll grab you, and I'll whisper right like my face right into yours. If you're going upstairs, don't walk past that open door.
Okay, noted. And Roland might not know. I don't have to walk past that open door to get to that office.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know what.
Right.
I'm just saying if you
Okay.
go way up top there.
Okay. Then I'll say thank you so much.
Okay. It's the hallway's clear when you go out. When you go upstairs, and I believe we were in 8 for that, right? I believe that was his office.
Are those the stairs, the one that say stairs down?
That goes down to the dungeons.
That is exactly where we are.
All right. Just make a quick move silently roll.
Okay, let me find that one.
Percentage? I think you're like 37 or something like that.
$77. Am I trying to roll under or over?
Definitely under.
Okay. 77.
Okay. You somebody dropped a fork on the top step or second to top step. You just didn't see it.
Mhm.
So you just kind of tink it a little bit and it falls down a couple steps and you're like, fuck. To the best of your knowledge, nobody heard.
Okay.
Now what?
I'm going to use that as a positive. So now on the stairs, I feel like in my head, there's now a trap set. So if someone's coming up the stairs, I'll hear them coming.
Okay. All right.
Almost as if I did it on purpose.
So you're going to 8, you said?
Continue, yes.
Yeah. All right. It is locked.
I will use those prongs.
All right. Do your lock.
Is 40.
Yep.
38.
There you go. In you go. There's nobody in here.
Excellent. I'm going to saw the one. So not that it's all the way off, but that it is hanging by a thread,
Okay. All right. It's going to take it's probably going to take a good 10 minutes, to get through. I know you're using a serrated knife, but it's not
I
quite
understand. It's
yeah.
just a serrated knife. Yeah. And this is a piece of wood. Yeah. I'm willing to put in the work.
Yep. All right, you do it. One of the legs is ready to give when it gets sat down on.
And then I will do, let's pretend I did the back left leg. Now I'm going to do the back right leg.
Mhm.
And then those would be the only two I really need to do.
All right. At one point, you can hear outside the door the guards pass.
I put Double D. I also put down some form of parchment or something to collect the sawdust so I can take it with me.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. You hear the guards pass once, and that's it.
Okay.
And then you're done.
So about 20 minutes of work, about 2-3 minutes of cleanup.
Then back down, right?
Overkill says lick the doorknob.
Are you doing it? You have any other business up here? You
Nope,
going anywhere
but
else?
I do collect that sawdust.
Okay.
And let the tomfoolery happen tomorrow morning.
All right.
As I'm going back down the stairs, if that's all finished, I take that fork with me. The one that fell, I take it with me.
It is done. You get downstairs to 1. And you can hear the guards coming around the corner from where 4 and 3 is.
Okay.
That long.
Then I will make haste and I will go to 5 really quick.
All right.
And as I'm running, as I turn the corner from 1 down the hallway to 5, I'll set that fork right on the ground.
Okay.
So that they can kick it or hear it.
Yeah.
And I'll know if they're coming for me. And that's it.
Let's do one last move silently. Seeing as you're on another level.
88.
Ooh, that is bad.
Yeah.
They catch a shadow, or maybe maybe they could just hear your footsteps. Who's out? They say.
Do I recognize the voices? Were they the ones that caught me in the kitchen?
Hard
the
to
other night?
say. Hard to say in your sweat and panic. So you have to kind of let me know what you're going to do. We'll say you're at the base of the stairs, right where the 1 is, and maybe they've just kind of turned the corner from the best you can piece together. So are you making a run for it? Going somewhere else?
Nope, I'm not making a run for it.
Oh.
I don't want to bring everyone. I don't want to bring the guards to 5 and make everyone get in trouble for me. I will just. I'm gonna play it off. Like I'm not gonna run, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna go to them. I'm gonna just kind of play it off that I'm out of my chambers.
All right. Well, there it's not quite a jog, but they're moving, and then they turn the corner, and it is the guards, unfortunately, who got you earlier, and they say, "You again? Oh my God!"
You're not going to believe this one.
They take you by the arms. They say, "We don't even want to hear it." They march you up the stairs. And they take you into 8.
Okay.
One is there with you, and the other one, you can hear him talking. Go get him. That's what they say.
I'm excited actually because he's about to do this in front of his subjects.
All right, so sure enough, he comes through the door. He's in like his nightshirt, and he's like essentially saying like the version of "this motherfucker again." He doesn't even waste time. He just slugs you like right in the gut.
Ugh. He got me there before.
Yeah. And he's like,
Last
well,
time you had me make a roll. What was that roll?
probably just a constitution to see if you could hold it.
That's what I want to try again.
All right, go ahead.
So it's my con's a 14. Do I roll a die 20 and try to get higher?
Under it.
Under a 14?
Yeah, 14 or under on a die 20. Yep.
14.
You got it. All right. You don't double over. But then he just says, oh, looks like we got a tough guy here. Him and the guard start beating you. Are you fighting back? I need to know.
I'm not fighting back, but Double D, when I was younger and my dad was hitting me, I always used to say that didn't hurt. So that's going to be my attitude right now.
Ooh. Are you verbalizing that?
I am. So as he's wailing on me, let's say he clocks me in the face. I'm going to try my best not to double over, and I'm just going to stand there and take it.
All right. They start beating you pretty good.
I'll roll a 4. I'll try it again.
Now it's just straight damage. Between the two of them, let's say dice 6. All right, so you take 4 points of damage. Like
Where's damage at?
Well, your hit points, they should be there. I'm sure Rogan can help you out.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. Take 4 points of legit damage. That's like cracked ribs, cuts, all that stuff. He goes behind his desk, but he doesn't sit down yet. And he says, see what you did? He's like shaking his fist. I bruised my damn fist. Picture Gary Busey here. Damn. He's like, well,
welcome, Merlin. He came late, but he's here.
And catch up. He shakes his hand and says, you are in a world of trouble tomorrow. Do you understand?
I do.
The guards, he says, all right, take him down, post a guard outside the door all night. And then just as you're about ready to go out the door.
I'm going to try my best. I don't want to actively stall, but I want this to happen in front of these guards.
Yeah. All right.
So So if I can see that they're kind of marching me out, I'm going to kind of slow down a little bit and grab my ribs, kind of play it off.
Yeah, I understand. It works. You slow down. He sits down and then boom, ass over tin cup, literally does like a somersault against the wall. And he, the guards are like, but for a minute, both of them release you and then run over to him. And he is just embarrassed. He's like, what the hell? What kind of a chair is this? He's like, give me a new one. Damn thing.
Good. I have a new one to break tomorrow.
He's like, what are you both doing here? Clutching at me like a couple of hens. Get him downstairs. Damn you. He looks furious now.
I just say they don't make them like they used to.
He stares daggers at you as you're being led out. Maybe that's where we ought to leave off. You're thrown down. All right. That's all.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. I have to figure out if that table's about ready to fall over.
That'd be a good ending for our stream.
Yeah. Well, you guys may have to witness the torturing of to death of Otto. It may be anticlimactic, but we'll see if he can hold out or what they do. They take you, they throw you in the room, and it sure seems like there's a guard posted out there. So that's all. All right, guys. Long stream, so I'm not going to belabor it. I'm just going to say goodbye.
Special thanks to Harmony Ginger for...
Great stream.
When she planned coming on that she would be on for as long as she was, but hopefully she had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, really appreciate
I think she
her
did.
time.
Yep, I think she did. Yep. Frank Destroso says, love that you switched to Dragon Slayer. Yep, got to support our boy Greg Gillespie. Nothing wrong with Dragonbane. It's a great game. But, look, we protect our own here. It's a nice, simple game to run. You guys can hear as I'm calling it out. There's no skills. It's just ability checks and stuff like that. A lot of leeway with the DM. So it's perfect for this format. So, all right. Love you guys. Peace. We'll talk soon. Goodbye.
Good night.